Go down the list. I'm just, there's another hearing taking place right now.
Okay.
Who also needs our interpreter.
Okay.
And I think they plan on having him go second. So maybe Vazquez can go third.
Okay, so I'll get him here in the meantime.
Yeah, no problem. Right.
Okay, and I'll send Gulyban in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Happy New Year to you guys.
You too.
All right, you can be ready here.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to You Have a Collect Call From. Today it is, what is it, Friday, January 10th. Man, I just woke up like 3 minutes ago. Luckily, I had everything set up, ready to go. Anyhow, hey, I'll go ahead and I'm gonna pull up this information right now, see what this individual's here for. Good thing I put this on the description yesterday. This was gonna be the first individual coming up, and this should be Robert. Let's see what Robert. Oh, Robert. He threatened gas station employee with one of those things that you cut things with. Yeah, that's what he did. I attached two articles to the description if you guys want to follow up before it starts. Let me check if I could bring it up on the screen here, and we'll do it like that. Robert, and see here. Let me get it up on the chat. Let me pop out the chat here. There we go. Put this over here. And oh no, this is a different guy. Oh no, this isn't him. There's no way. Let me see. Oh no, hold on. Is it? Let me see. Connecticut man with charge taking part of the street takeover. Nope, that's not Robert right there. Absolutely not. I wonder why this came up here. Let me see here.
All right. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Wingerton. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025. And this is the hearing in Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available for information and preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm Panel Member Berry.
Good morning, Joy Chance.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Sir, can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
I'm Robert Gulyban, inmate number 405653.
Thank you very much. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Robert Gulyban, inmate number 405653. He's serving a sentence of 30 months flat for criminal trespassing in the first degree, violation of probation with an underlying offense of larceny third, a second violation of probation with an underlying offense of criminal mischief in the second, a third count of violation of probation with an underlying offense of burglary in the third degree, and a fourth count of violation of probation with an underlying offense conviction of threatening in the second degree, along with failure to appear in the second degree. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of August 12th, 2024. There's no victim input in this case. There is no offender accountability plan in place. But the offender is currently participating in school. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the high grade for recidivism. Sir, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you may begin.
All right. I would like to be granted parole because I would like the opportunity to rebuild my life through education and employment. I plan to enroll at New Haven Adult Education as soon as possible once I am in the community. I also want to work part or full-time around my school schedule. I would get back into contact with temp agencies I previously worked for in the past in New Haven area to start work until I found a full-time position. While incarcerated, I have remained ticket and disciplinary free. I have avoided conflicts, and during my incarceration, I have attended GED classes and have studied diligently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gulyban, for your opening statement. We're going to ask you some questions, and when we're done with the questions, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. Ms. Chance is going to begin with the questions.
So, Mr. Gulyban, can you tell me what is going to be different for you this time? You said you want the opportunity to go out and rebuild your life. But you've been given 4 previous opportunities.
Well, this has been
Failed
my,
all of them. So what is it that you didn't do those 4 times that you're going to do now?
this has been my longest sentence, so I've had the most time to think about that. It's my main goal is to, get my diploma, and that will open more opportunities and stay around positive people. As they say, people, places, and things is going to be my main focus. When and if I'm released.
Well, so other than telling me that this is your longest sentence, you didn't tell me why you think it's going to be different. Because 30 months is 2.5 years.
That's correct.
Right? And when I look at all the offenses that you have been committed, I don't understand why you think 2.5 months is long. You've had assault on personnel, criminal mischief. You've violated probation several times. So what is it that you did not do before that you think you're going to do now?
What I think is going to help me, I've been doing a lot of brainstorming and I have like long list of things and goals and things I want to do. And I'm also at the point of like, I'm sick of being in and out of the system. I'm old. I'm 30 years old now. I was also younger and didn't think things through. I tend to think before I do or complete something now. A lot of those charges were impulsive acts or behaviors, you can say. So definitely thinking before I do something would definitely keep me out of trouble in the future.
So you chose not to participate in the tier.
I volunteered to do tier 2, and then when I was at the previous facility, it took place during my school time, so I had to choose between school and that class.
So your drug score is just 3, so obviously you didn't think there was a need for you to, you indicated that you only drink socially.
Correct.
So let me ask you this. So based on the charges that you have, what do you think caused you to assault someone?
Which charge? I don't believe I'm currently
You have
incarcerated
an
for an
assault,
assault.
third, assault on personnel, and you have criminal mischief and violation of probation.
The histories, yes, that was that assault. I was intoxicated. I was going through an emotional time. That was one of my first charges as an adult. It was a domestic issue with my father. I was intoxicated on alcohol back in 2014, I believe that was. And the assault on the personnel was technically an accident. I was being disturbing in the cell, and I spit at the window, and the correctional officer at the time happened to be touring, and I didn't notice it, and he claimed that it made contact with his face. So I apologized and was remorseful for that after that occurred, and served a year sentence for that as well.
So why would you be spitting at the window?
I was emotionally distraught. I was in county, and it was a stressful time. I was also in RHU, restrictive housing unit at that time. And I was just being disturbance. Again, I was young. I think I was 19 when those charges occurred, 18 even. And these charges we're speaking of are from previous sentences, not the current sentence. I'd like that to be noted.
I understand that, but your behavior is what I'm concerned about. Mr.
Yes.
Gulyban.
Yes.
Okay. So, granted, today you're here, it's 4 counts of violation of probation with the underlying offense of the larceny third, and then you have criminal mischief and threatening second and those kinds of things. So, for me, your behavior is similar to what you've done. So you have the threatening second from before. Okay, so just looking at your history, if you were doing what you were supposed to do in the community, you and I would not be sitting here talking.
Agreed.
Right.
Like I was trying to say before, is my mindset's also different. I've grown and I'm older, more mature. A lot of those, charges, I was young-minded and didn't really, more or less care. Between partying and drinking and reckless regard of what I was doing. Now I have goals and ambitions I would like to attain within a reasonable time frame rather.
Yeah. I mean, your burglary third in 2019, you were what, 25?
I believe so, approximately.
March 22nd, when you did the criminal mischief, you were all old, 28?
Yes.
And as part of that, the time that you received, you also had a threatening second and you failed to appear. So I'm trying to point out to you that it's the behavior.
Okay, yes.
That I'm looking at. So you're telling me after going through the last 3 with you, you were between the ages of 25 and 28.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
at age 25, your brains is fully developed.
That's correct.
Right? So the other problem is that, and I do appreciate you acknowledging that, you are learning to change your behavior and thinking differently. So you say you are in school.
Correct.
But you also have voices on your list.
Yes, you're correct. On the waiting list, I wrote the addiction services facilitator as soon as I was transferred to this facility. I should be on the waiting list for that group.
Yeah. So
That's all I can do for my control.
But your crimes have impacted many people. And so it's important for you to do the Voices program.
Okay.
And, it's a flat sentence. And, in the past, you had a problem with alcohol, and you said you attended rehab.
Correct.
But, that's it. I think you need to do a little bit more. And then you were not working.
No, I was working. I had a few jobs. At the time of arrest, I was not working. I did lose my job, but I do have a history of employment.
I know you do, but for these charges, you were not You were unemployed
At
and
the
you
time.
said you were spending your time watching Netflix.
Netflix.
No, mostly was at a homeless shelter, so I didn't have the ability. I think that question was when, like for coping skills and hobbies, I watched Netflix. I was still actively job searching through temp agencies and Workforce Alliance on El Grasso Boulevard and other employment resources in Greater New Haven area.
Yeah, well, that's what you should have been doing. You also was asked what a high-risk situation for you would be, and you said alcohol and drugs. And you would stay away,
From the people.
don't meet or don't have their phone numbers.
Correct.
So for me, tier 2 would have been good for you to take.
Okay. I agree it's maybe at some point, but my perspective was that education can help me get further and have more successful opportunity.
Yeah, and while that is true, if there is a problem, and obviously you think alcohol and drugs are a risky situation, so the tier 2 would have been helpful. You take that and then you do your school.
The time conflicted.
Right, so
like I said
you have to
previously.
prioritize.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do know that you did say that you would obtain employment via a temp agency. And, going back in the community, you could continue with education. But for me, the tier 2 and the voice is more important for you, considering that you had those 4 previous failed community releases. And I was just concerned that you were not working. I didn't say you never had a job, just that this particular time you weren't working. So I think you need to stay and really figure out a better release plan where you're going to focus on, the substance abuse, and you're a level 3, which is, right in the middle. But it's obvious that, they wanted you to do the tier 2, which should have been helpful. It's not just the drug addiction part that it covered, but I don't know if you saw the curriculum for it, and it may have been very helpful for you. Okay, so I have no further questions, Gulyban. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me today. Good luck, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. So, Mr. Gulyban, I don't believe that you're a suitable candidate for discretionary parole today, and here's why. For a 30-year-old man, you rate out high in terms of risk to recidivate. You also have not completed any programs to address your criminogenic needs, meaning, and you spoke with Ms. Chance at length about your substance abuse problem and how they fuel some of your criminal behaviors, especially that aggression. In the past, and even with this current incident, where you threatened this clerk. And what was concerning to me is when you were interviewed by the parole officer in preparation for today's hearing, you told him that your sentence was harsh for someone who had an argument with the clerk. Is that still your position?
Honestly, yeah, I've met other inmates that have been caught with, more severe charges, firearm charges, theft, severe violent attacks, and they have had the same sentence on assaults on police, and they have had the same sentence as me.
Yeah, 30 months, really? So were they also on 3 different types of probation with so many underlying offenses and hadn't even been under supervision for a year and accumulating several charges?
Possibly, yeah, I assume so.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure they had other charges besides just that one.
That hasn't been what I've seen, Mr. Gulyban. and I've been here for a while and I've seen a few sentences. And to be honest with you, a 30-month sentence for a violation of probation is a slap on the wrist because you had 3 years of probation, 3 years, and they could have made you serve all of the remainder of that sentence. They couldn't. And you were accumulating charges long before they even violated you. They were giving you opportunities and you just did not comply. And I would beg to differ and with your response about being immature or lack of you didn't care about you. They tried to work with you for years before they incarcerated you. Years. And you just did not. Nothing worked. You're there because it's your fault. And you threatened this guy with a knife. You went and found a knife somewhere and went back to the clerk.
No, I didn't leave and come back. He pursued me off the property, and I was off the property, and he still pursued me with his phone. I didn't know he was reaching for a phone. I felt threatened, and I defended myself. I didn't strike him. There was no assault. It was just a threatening. But I did feel threatened by him. But
he felt threatened by you. Why didn't you just leave the store? You had no right to be standing outside the store. Customers were complaining about you. Do you know that? You were panhandling, and when you didn't get money, what were you doing?
I was about to leave.
No, when you were panhandling and bothering the customers because you were trying to get money to go to the soup kitchen.
I was trying to get money to leave, to catch the bus.
I need you to listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Gulyban.
I am.
What were you saying to the customers that were entering into the store when they did not give you any money? What were you doing?
I was being polite. I don't know what the document says.
It says that you were bothering the customers. That's why they asked you.
Asking for money does bother customers, yes.
I see plenty of people outside panhandling, sir, and I don't feel like they're a bother. So it had to have been something more, is what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
The behaviors, as Ms. Chance stated, they're continued. I don't see any kind of evidence of change. And even you had a job, you quit the job because you were scared of heights, you refused the tier program because you wanted to go to school. Why weren't you in school in the community? Why weren't you doing that?
I was at one time. I was going to adult ed after a time in rehab, and then I had to get a job because otherwise I would have been homeless anyways. So I had to sacrifice that to similar to what you're saying is sacrifice school to go to a drug program. But I had to sacrifice school for employment when I was in the community.
All of this stuff is it's too much. And I really do believe that this sentence is appropriate. The good thing is that you've been approved for a halfway house, so you will receive some sort of help out in the community, but I cannot support your discretionary parole today because I simply do not think that you're a suitable candidate.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My colleagues have asked all of the questions that I was going to talk about. My advice to you is really just you don't appear remorseful, and when someone presents a knife to you when you're at your workplace, I don't think you're not understanding like the impact that it has on that person. He's got to go back to work there every day, and I don't know if he quit his job or he can still work there or not, but you're not understanding the impact that you're having on your victims, and you're not able to express that. I mean, that's what they talk about in the Voices program. I just think your lack of programming is hurting you. You're not able to articulate how I haven't heard you say one thing, apologize anything to the victims. I mean, I haven't heard one thing about what happened. And you must have family. Can you imagine if that was your mother, your grandmother, your father, someone that you love in your family, and some stranger presented a knife to them? Yeah. So you're not in a place that you're ready for this yet. I would encourage you to try to think about the things that we said and reflect on those things. I hear in your voice that you want to do better, and I'm glad to hear that you're working on your GED. I would continue to do positive things because at some point they're going to reevaluate here for this halfway house situation at DOC. Okay. And I would encourage you not to do anything that's going to interfere with that between now and whenever that happens.
Stay ticket free and remain diligent with GED.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Don't spit on anybody. Don't threaten anybody. None of that stuff can happen, or else you're going to run to end of sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Okay, good luck, sir. That's all I have.
Well, thank you for your time, guys. Bye.
Hold on 1 second.
Mr.
Hold on.
Gulyban, Mr. Gulyban,
Yeah.
The board has to do their deliberations and they will have to announce their final decision, okay? So your portion of the hearing isn't concluded just yet, all right?
All right.
thank you. Officer
Yep.
White. Give us a few minutes, Mr. Gulyban. Ms. Chance?
Do I leave?
So,
No, you stay here. You can listen to us, okay?
Okay.
so for me, Mr. Gulyban did not express any remorse for any of these crimes that he's committed. He has not taken any programs to address his criminal behavior or his substance abuse. And he keeps blaming having to work or being homeless versus not participating in treatment, which appears to be a priority for him. He did not do well on his 4 previous community leases, and so I have Mr. Gulyban denied today because of his high risk to recidivation, not addressing his criminogenic needs or substance abuse. And I have inadequate institution program participation evidence of it.
All right, Mr. Sadowskis?
Yeah, I completely agree with my colleague.
Okay.
I have nothing else to add.
Thank you. So with regard to Robert Gulyban, 405653, I move to deny discretionary parole based on inadequate evidence of offender change, inadequate program participation, and the offense is being committed while you are on probation. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Gulyban, we couldn't support your discretionary parole, sir. You'll receive all of this in writing, and we wish you the best. Can you ask the officer to please send in the next person? Thanks.
This concludes.
Next one, Lisa.
You don't need Vazquez, right?
No.
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Mohammad, you're welcome.
All right. Well, that guy is not going anywhere anytime soon. The parole board didn't.
Good morning.
The next.
Who is this?
Morning, sir. Mr. Mohammad?
Yes,
All right, we'll get started with your case in just a moment, okay?
yes.
Good morning. My name is Paul Officer Wangersman. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025. And this is a hearing of Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record, certified they've reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm Panel Member Barry.
Good morning, George Chance.
Good morning, Robert Sadowskis.
Sir, can you please, Mr. Mohammed, can you please state your names and inmate number for the record?
Yes, good morning. My name is Hadi Mohammad, 334550.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Hadi Mohammad, inmate number 334550. He's currently serving a sentence of 5 years, execution suspended after 2 years and 1 day, followed by 5 years of probation for threatening in the first degree, criminal possession of a firearm, and breach of peace in the second degree. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of February 20th, 2025. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan in place that has been reviewed and shows that he has completed anger management and alternatives to violence. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the high range risk for recidivism. Mr. Mohammed, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you may begin.
Yes, so first and foremost, I would like to thank the parole board for the opportunity to speak today. And I would like to apologize to my victims and my cases, and I hope that they are able to get past any trauma I may have caused. I'm truly sorry. This incarceration was actually a blessing because I used it as a tool to learn new behavior and conquer a positive mentality. Some of the things that helped me adapt to this new mind state is the completion of anger management, in which I learned to remain calm and optimistic, especially in difficult situations. I also completed a voluntary program named Alternatives to Violence, in which I learned a higher respect for myself and others. I also learned better communication techniques and problem solving. During this process, I learned I was carrying a gun because that was a part of my old self that I still had not let go at that time. This incarceration has helped me a lot, helped me let go a lot of my past and realize I'm no longer that person. I do know how to be a positive contributing member of society. I plan on working and going to CDL school upon my release. I also have 3 beautiful kids that I play a huge role in all 3 of their lives. I look forward to being a better father, and I have a huge amount of remorse for the victims in these situations and how I affected them. I would like to end this letter saying I truly apologize again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammad, for your statement and for preparing that for the board today. You know, sometimes people come in and they don't have a prepared statement, but it's better to have your thoughts written down so that you can convey those to the board. So I appreciate your taking that time.
Thank you.
I understand how your children can be, incentive for you to kind of get on the better path. So I'm really hoping that you mean what you say in that letter that you wrote, and that you really and truly have changed.
Absolutely.
So what's going to happen is we're each going to take an opportunity to ask you some questions, and when we're done, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the reason why you're there. Explain to us why the victim in the case where you went to these people's house and had an argument with the person inside, one of the people, or 2 of the people inside. What, were you drunk?
Oh, which case are we speaking in
The
regards?
November, the one where you said you had a gun in the car and you can go out there and get it and you know how to use it. You went into their house.
So that was my child's mother's house. My child's mother's house. And so the misunderstanding happened over my son. At the time, my son was 2 months old. So what was supposed to be a simple conversation amongst us as adults spiraled out of control because I had an issue with, someone handling my 2-month-old child at the time during Thanksgiving. So me and the mother was having a talk at her mother's house, and a family member got involved, and it was just a circumstance to where I felt as though me and her conversation was more important as the parents of the child. And it ended up just escalating into basically being a lot more out of control. But
because you said that the police report was absolutely wrong. And I'm trying to understand where it was wrong. Where was it? Where were the discrepancies? So you were arguing with your kid's mother. So who is this guy's name was? Who is
MVP.
No, not MVP. That was the guy with the rims. It was the other people.
JM.
Yeah. Who's JM?
I had no idea.
So it was somebody else's name that began with an O. Somebody's last name that began with O. Hold on a second. I'll tell you.
The only person in that household that I know by last name is my kid's mother.
But the last name with the JM. So who was the male that you were arguing with?
The initials.
That will be her stepfather.
Okay, so you were in her parents' house arguing with the man of the house, threatening him to go outside and get your gun because he didn't like the way that you were speaking to his daughter? Is that, I'm trying to understand.
So initially, no, me and her were speaking, and her cousin got involved because the person that was handling my son was the cousin's baby father. So while me and my baby mother were speaking, she got involved because she was offended at the fact that I didn't want him handling my 2-month-old son. So that's how she came into play. Me and my baby mother originally weren't arguing. We were having a discussion. The argument came in when she got involved in the conversation. Once she got involved in the conversation is when everything kind of escalated up. The stepfather came up to actually diffuse the situation. So when he came up to diffuse the situation, that's when we exchanged words at that time.
Were you drunk?
I was not drunk.
The police report said that you were drunk.
I was not drunk, and I actually wasn't apprehended that night.
Right. No, I did see that. They found you a little bit later. But anyway, so did you have a gun in the car?
I did not.
So why did you say that?
I'm not sure why it said that I said that, but I did not have a gun at the time in the car, no.
Okay. And did you have a gun in the car about the rims?
Yes.
And so let's talk about how many gun charges you have. How many times have you been caught with a firearm?
This will be my second time.
So I see you have a criminal possession of a weapon in 24. I also see you have a no pistol permit in 2007.
Yes.
And then you had one before that. And then what was the weapon that you had in Virginia when you got the strangulation, assault, and obstruction of justice? What weapon did you have in the car? Or what weapon did you have?
That was a pistol also.
So that's 4.
Okay.
That's one, and when did you, where did you get your license to fire this firearm? Because you told the guy that you know how to use it. How did you learn how to use the firearm?
I actually don't remember making that statement, honestly.
Okay. Do you know how to use a firearm?
I do not.
Have you ever fired one?
No.
So the thing about it, Mr. Mohammad, is that, the parole board takes gun offenses very, very seriously. You see the high volume of crime on TV and how many people are losing their lives. And, we have to take a stand on these weapons. While I can appreciate all the efforts that you have made to turn your life around. And like I said to you when we first started this conversation, I really do hope that you are sincere about the things that you've shared with this board today, because ultimately you're only doing yourself a disservice by coming in and out of prison and not being in your children's lives. And the last thing that you want to do is have your children repeat the behaviors that you are, because that's what they see.
Absolutely.
And I really do hope that this is it for you, because the sentences only get longer and the system is designed for you to fail. So until you step outside of that circle that you're running on, what is that, the hamster wheel? Until you decide to get off, we're going to have this conversation over and over again. You're 35 years old. We'll have a conversation at 45 and at 50. And enough's enough. You're intelligent, right? You have your high school diploma. Yes. You had a good job. What's all the, why? Are you trying to do, you have one foot on the good side and one on the other? The bad?
So, honestly, and I take accountability for everything that has, been said and the reason why I'm incarcerated. And I don't make excuses at all. If I did it, I did it. And I'm willing to deal with the consequences on any level, because, of course, that's just part of the transaction. So at the time all of this occurred, my sister had just been killed. So
I'm sorry.
That kind of derailed me off the path that I had been on for a long time. Of course, working at Yale, being a providing father, and just a number of other things. So at the time all of this was going on, I was kind of mourning in the wrong way, you can say, and it's still no excuse as to my actions whatsoever. But that did play a role in me going from being on this straight path to kind of mentally being somewhere else and feeling like, once again, I had the need to carry a firearm, which I hadn't done in a long time. I had stayed out of trouble, and I'm not sure if it shows on your end, but I actually had a pardon in place.
Wow.
So
it's unfortunate, Mr. Mohammad.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we all suffer, losses in our lives, and they're difficult.
Yes.
And so I would really, I mean, I understand that too, it's a cultural thing and that you're a man. And so, but get some help, find someone to talk to, because this is not what you have. This is not what your life has to be. It really isn't. It's up to you to make better decisions to get yourself out of this, but
Absolutely.
we haven't, go ahead.
No, I was saying absolutely. And it was just a matter of, this is actually my blood sister. We have the same father and mother. So my whole life she's been a part of my life. So, it was just mentally, it was a tragic thing dealing with the whole funeral process. I've never had to, financially be involved with burying someone and, viewing the body prior to the service and so on and so forth. So, just dealing with all of that, I'm more wrong, and I let that be a controlling factor to my negative behavior, unfortunately. And that's what kind of got me off the path that I was originally on. But ultimately, I'm here now because of my actions and what I chose to do.
Well, it sounds like you really, at least you have an understanding of why you were doing what you were doing. So
Absolutely.
You can avoid that behavior in the future. That's growth and maturation. Unfortunately, as you said, you did what you did, and you have to accept the consequences for your action. And you're smart, Mr. Mohammad. You're smart. You had a good job. There's no doubt in my mind that you can get those things back. And you have to just step away from that lifestyle. You have too much to lose at this point. So,
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate your sharing with me. And again, I apologize. I'm sorry for your loss. I couldn't imagine losing my sister. I couldn't imagine. I honestly couldn't. But, unfortunately, that's a part of life. We're not here forever. So I'm hoping that the next time that you find yourself in a situation where it's difficult for you to handle, find someone to talk to.
Yes.
It may not help, but it may. You know what I mean? And it's difficult for men to be vulnerable, but find someone that you can be in that vulnerable space and say, hey, I'm hurting, and I really don't know. I'm spiraling out of control kind of thing. It's hard, but until we start having those difficult conversations that we don't want to have because we don't want people to think we're a punk or whatever the case may be, it's just that hamster wheel. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, I agree.
Same stuff, different day. All right, Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My colleagues asked a lot of the questions that I was going to ask, but there were a couple things that I wanted to touch on. You had a disciplinary report in April, and they described you during the incident as agitated and aggressive, which sounds a lot like these other two incidents, the one in Waterbury and the one in New Haven, or the two different things you had, one with the wheels and the other one with your family. But you've since taken anger management, right, after that?
Yes. So is it okay if I explain the ticket situation?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, sir.
So the ticket situation originated from my door not being secured after child in Cheshire, which in Cheshire, if you're familiar with the facility, the child is right outside of your door, literally. So at that facility, I was housed in a 2-man cell, in which at the time, the correction officer didn't clearly state which one of us he told to secure the door. So I end up being the one who, took on the responsibility of being wrong for not securing the door, even though I had a visit scheduled that day and so on and a lot of other things. I was on the right path. I wasn't, in the facility to cause issues or become a bigger issue or anything. So yes, I probably was frustrated and agitated because I felt like, I took the responsibility for something that, it could have clearly been displayed between two people. We both live in this cell. We could have both very well been responsible for securing the door. So that did agitate me, and I was upset about that because I felt like, I was targeted in the situation over a door not being secured that we usually didn't secure at the time. It was just literally at each correctional officer's discretion, and this officer felt that he wanted the inmates to secure the door versus being a staff member to secure. So it was a big communication, and verbally, yes, I handled it wrong.
Yeah, so if it was just a door thing and there was some complication about it and you had a conversation like we're having and then you closed it, you probably wouldn't have got a ticket.
Mhm.
The
Absolutely.
part where, yeah, so you understand where it goes wrong. And it sounds, even though it's a different thing, right? It sounds a lot like what happened with these wheels. It sounds a lot like what happened with your family at Thanksgiving, so there's a simple disagreement that can be resolved amongst adults that just have a normal conversation like you and I are having, like you're having with my colleague, that turns into something else, and so that's what happened. It sounds like to me, similar, but you've taken anger management after all of these things have happened. So I'm just wondering if, in the anger management class, if there's things that you've learned that you could have used, you think, maybe to handle all of these situations differently,
Absolutely. And I also voluntarily took alternative to violence class also,
Very
in
good.
which it has helped me. It has helped me in my day-to-day life just being in prison,
Mhm.
with just effectively communicating, because
Yeah.
the common denominator in all of these situations is a failure to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
And I learned that was my issue and something that I needed to conquer. And I know that small change could change the trajectory of my life ultimately. Just being able to speak with somebody and not get upset and,
Yes.
not go to the next level. And, even if it is something that I feel like I can't control whether or not I get upset, remove myself. I don't have to stay there. I don't have to engage in everything at that time. Maybe it would be better for me to revisit it at a later time. And, when I'm calmer and when the other person is calmer, and we can try to effectively communicate at that time. So between anger management and alternative to violence, I did learn a lot of effective communication techniques and just how to remain calm and optimistic in the face of these difficult situations, because they exist and they're always going to exist. I'm going to run into difficult situations.
Yes.
The moment I'm out of here, I run into them every day in here. And that's why I've been able to pretty much avoid them since that time, that ticket in Cheshire. So I feel like I have grown and I have learned better strategies to mentally deal with difficult situations. And I just want to continue to be better and continue to make better decisions.
It's a very good answer. If you would have had those tools and those skills and used those in any one of these three incidents, with the wheels, with your family, with this door cell, right? Those situations would not have occurred. I can guarantee you that. You know what I mean? The things you talk about, you start getting to a point where you feel like either you or the other person is getting to a level that's going to be, outside of just a conversation. You could simply walk away, right? And then go back later and take care of this when people are calmer. Try to stay calm, take deep breaths. There's a lot of things that you can do that you talked about that could avoid some of these situations that put you in this, we all have disagreements every day at our workplace, with our families. Things like that happen around holidays, like happen with you, right? When there's a big groups of family around, these things happen in everybody's life all the time. It's just, how you can communicate and deal with the situation so it doesn't get to where people start talking about getting guns and things like that. We can't, that's when it starts turning into criminal activity. So,
Yes.
And you talked about effective communication. You're communicating very effectively with all of us today. Better than most people that come in front of us. Like, we can understand what you're saying and your point of view, that you want to be a better person, you want to be a better father. All of those things that you're saying make sense, So you've been approved for a halfway house. Have you heard anything else about that?
Well, since I was approved through community release, I just basically, they said I basically had to waive parole or see parole as, the final step of the process to move forward with leaving to the halfway house. So I chose to see parole because, I just wanted to speak to you guys and just, have a chance to get a better understanding from different perspectives on, where I went wrong in the situation. And
so, regardless of what happens today, there's still this halfway house DOC situation, and we're going to continue on with this hearing here and then make a decision shortly. But I would encourage you to, regardless of what happens, you're on the right path.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to just keep doing what you're doing, and don't don't have any more pitfalls. You can't have any more tickets, nothing like that happening right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, stay positive, just keep doing what you're doing. You're heading in the right direction, you're saying the right things. And like my colleague said, I hope what you said in your opening statement is true and that you can change your life, because all these gun charges and things, it's starting to pile up on you, you know, and you've had a lot of chances at probation, different things, right? And at some point, you're not going to keep getting those opportunities. People are going to say, that's enough. You know what I mean?
I
So,
agree.
yeah. Okay, that's it for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Southwick. Ms. Chan?
Yeah, so just one or two. So, Mr. Mohammed, I certainly listened to you today and hear some change. And what I appreciated was you acknowledging what you have failed to do, and that's to effectively communicate. But that taking those two programs have certainly helped you. So I agree with what my two colleagues have said. The concern that I have are those 4 gun charges. And so I'm just going to add, whatever happens here, just continuing to do all the positive things that you have been doing. You're a smart young man, and I am sorry for the loss of your sister. And I've experienced the loss of a sister. You know, everybody just chooses different way. And I think you have learned that when you lose someone, you can't go crazy. You have to truly mourn the person that you love and maybe think of all the positive things that go with the person, as opposed to being angry with the world around you.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think you understand that fully.
Yeah.
But as a public safety issue, it's the 4 gun charges that is concerning to me. But I wish you the best of luck, because you're on the right path. And no matter what happens today, you're going to be successful when you go back up.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Ms. Chan. So, Mr. Mohammed, you're almost done with your sentence. You are halfway house approved, and I see that you do have family that you can return to, but you opted to go to the halfway house so that you can get yourself on the right path before you are reunited with your family. You have, these children. You still have support in the community, and so I would encourage you to utilize that help. And you have the 5 years of probation to follow your sentence. So you are going to have some help, but again, it's the choices that you make from here on out that are going to determine which path you'll remain on. So I agree with my colleagues about your intelligence and your articulation, and you shouldn't be where you are. But nonetheless, we have to make a decision about his discretionary parole. And I think we're all on the same page in terms of his suitability. And so I have the reasons for my denial of his criminal history and the nature and circumstance of the offense. I can't say that there's no evidence of change, because he has. It's strictly,
I have those 2. So,
Yes.
so the good thing is you're almost done and you'll be out, and you have the halfway house. So I hope to see good things in the future. So with regard to Hadi Mohammad, 334-550, I move to deny discretionary parole based on his criminal history and the nature and circumstance of his offense. Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Mohammed, you'll receive all of this in writing, sir. We wish you the best. Good luck to
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Just over here.
All right. Good morning and welcome to You Have a Collect Call
Yeah.
Forum. We just gotta wait for the next individual to come up, and let me pull up their information while we're waiting around.
Whoever you put.
Actually,
Next
if you can
individual
bring
should
in
be
Mr. Thomas.
Thomas?
Or, no, sorry, Mr. Nealy. I apologize.
Nealy.
Okay,
That's right,
Nealy.
All right, let's go ahead and pull up Nealy. I think this is the guy that crashed into Taylor Swift's house. And I don't think I'm joking about that either.
How y'all doing?
Let me pull
Question.
Morning, sir. We're just gonna get started in just a moment.
And then we go ahead and read the article right here while we're
All right, good morning. My name is Dr. Langersman. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025. This is the hearing of Connecticut Court Parties Paroles. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available for information and preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm panel member Barry.
Good morning, George Chance.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Sir, can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Taquan 433-487.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the full application for Taquan Nealy, inmate number 433-487. He's serving a sentence of 4 years and 6 months with 3.5 years discussion follow for possession with intent to sell and distribute narcotics, criminal possession of a pistol, interfering with an officer and resisting, and a violation of probation with an underlying offense of conspiracy to commit larceny in the first degree. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of January 27th, 2025. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan in place that is reviewed and shows that he has completed good intentions, bad choices, and unlocked your thinking. Let the record also reflect Mr. Nealy received 2 additional disciplinary reports after his parole interview was conducted. He was issued a fighting ticket on October 24th, 2024, and he was issued an additional ticket for refusing housing on November 21st, 2024. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls with a very high range risk for recidivism. Mr. Nealy, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you may begin.
Right. I got a letter. Please bear with me. I got a little trouble with reading, so
Take
I
your
feel like-
time, sir.
okay, thank you. I feel like I should be given parole to show my family, mother, sisters, the board of parole, and most important myself, that I could be given a second chance at life again to be the man I'm supposed to be. Now, I know I was given that chance before my last time when I was incarcerated. I could sit here and lie and make up 1,000 excuses on how it wasn't my fault for me coming back to jail. But I'm not, because me being incarcerated this time, I learned change, patience, and how to take full responsibility for my actions I didn't do. So for me saying that, it wasn't no reason for me coming back to jail, because it wasn't. Honestly, when I was incarcerated my last time, I lost somebody close to me. I lost my brother to gun violence, and I was lost in a dark place at that point in time. And I had a weak mind and didn't have master of myself. So when I got released, I needed help, and I chose not to get the help I needed, which caused me to relapse and go back to the same things I used to do before I got incarcerated my last time, which caused me to be sitting right here. Which caused me to be sitting right here, asking to be given parole for another chance at life again, to show myself and everybody I could be the man I'm supposed to be and give back to society. This time being incarcerated, being around father figures, because I lost my father to gun violence in 2011 when I was 11 years old, to show me that this is not the lifestyle I want for myself, because it's some people in here who's never coming back home and don't got another chance at life again, and I do, and I'm not going to let my life go to waste like that over something I can change no matter what ups and downs life throws at me, rather if I get parole today or not. At least I'm big enough to admit and realize that, because I was too selfish to realize that only caring about myself, not knowing my actions, was tearing the people I love the most apart. Now it's time for me to give back by fixing and healing the problems I caused. I'm not going to let my destructive past get in the way with my productive future. And this is my goals right here. My first change when I get released from jail this time and last time is looking around for any job that want to hire me, because I'm not scared to tell the truth. I'm done doing the same things, hustling drugs, being around guns, the same things that took my father and my brother away from me and my family. It doesn't make sense to me no more, because I know my father and brother doesn't want this for me, and I don't want this for myself, because these things that's going to put me back back in here. And I say change because it takes a man or a woman to make that change, no matter if it's difficult to do it. I'm not saying I'm perfect now, but because nobody is perfect in life, and I'm working in progress, working towards being the best man I could be for myself. And this is like my plans for like when I get out of jail. Like not my plans, but like working wise, like financially. My real goals is 3 to 5 years after being released from jail. This time and last time is to start my own landscaping business with all the other dudes that was incarcerated before and turned their lives around for the good, to show that no matter what you go through in life, from living in the streets, being homeless, being a drug dealer, or being incarcerated, no matter what it is, that you can become somebody in life with the right support. Because it's never over until it's over. And I want this business so I can start my own family with a beautiful lady and have some beautiful kids, so they could be financially stable and won't have to go down the same path I did in life. They say every chapter that have the end have a new beginning. So by me saying that, I ask y'all today, can I be granted parole so I can start my new chapter of life and move on from the past chapter, please and thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I say, can I say one more thing? And
Yeah.
I say change a lot, because I feel like a lot of people that I see that when I came back in my last time, it's a hard thing for people to change. I feel like I feel like it's like an illness. A lot of people is scared. I say the illness is fear. And I feel like a lot of people be scared to change because, when they live in the fast life or do whatever they doing, not working, I feel like they don't want to be looked at as they chickened out because they came to jail, got incarcerated, or it's like they have brand new cars, new jewelry, and, not saying that that's not the only way, because I've seen people like my family have the same things by working a 9 to 5, So a lot of people are scared of that change, because that's all they live, which in me, I was scared of change. That's something I've been always scared of, is change. And like now being like incarcerated this time, like I really felt like that's just like, that's just an excuse, like to do what you have to do as a man. And, like I don't have kids, but I have family, I have people that cares for me. I have nephews that don't even like realize my voice because I went to jail. Before I went to jail, my sisters and brothers had them. And when I came home, there was only one, and now they're about to be 4 years old and they barely remember my voice. And that hurts me to the most that happened. So now it's like, I just see that like now that's just not it no more, and it's just for me now to be as a man, to do what I got to do. I have to make that promise I gave to my mother, which I broke the last time before I was incarcerated. And now it's just time to do what I have to do, no matter what. If it's hard, like I said, what life throws at you up and down, I'm just going to still be a man and just go forward. And, like it's people that's having it harder than me, and it's like I'm not going to use this little bit of excuse because I haven't been down a long time and didn't do that much time. But I swear this time, though, it's just like I can't do it no more, like it's hurting my mother, it's hurting my family. And as a man, that takes effect on me, so it's like, that's all I have to say. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. That's a lot. You said a lot. So I appreciate your sharing with me, Mr. Nealy.
Yes.
And the sad part is that, as you said in your opening statement, you really have had opportunities out there and you squandered them. So, but I'm glad to hear that your mind frame is that your mindset is different, and that you understand now that you really have to think things through because you want a future for yourself. And that's a good thing.
Yes.
So we're going to ask you some questions, sir. And when we're done with the questions, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. But before that, just some housekeeping rules, you were on, did you waive your discretionary parole the last time that you were
incarcerated?
Yeah.
I never got paroled my last time. I had to finish out my whole bid. So I don't remember, but I probably did.
Okay. And so you were on special parole for a gun charge, criminal possession of a weapon, and that's still running, right?
Yes. I don't know. I had got a letter and it said that it revoked. So I don't really know what that means because this is my first time going up for parole. But
revoke means that it's taken back because you're incarcerated.
All right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so you're incarcerated now, so your special parole was revoked and it's still running. And it's
Okay.
supposed to expire, I believe, April 27th, 2025. Is that what you have as a date or?
Yes, that was my, yeah, yes.
Okay. And so now for this new bid, you have more special parole.
Yeah, I guess they want to take the special parole away, so I just took it.
So did you know that on special parole, you can come right back to prison?
Yes.
And did they tell you that you could serve out the remainder of that special parole incarcerated?
Yes, they did.
Wow. Okay. All right. Mr. Sazowskis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
I was glad to hear your statement, some of the positive things you were saying about change. How
Yeah,
you want to be a better person. You recognize some of the mistakes
yeah.
and
Thank you.
poor choices that you've made in the past, even though you've been given lots of opportunities.
Yes.
And you mentioned about your lifestyle, drugs and carrying a gun and all that. And I just want to go back to that a little bit. Why do you think you were selling drugs, while you were on special parole and carrying a gun? What was going through your mind? You mentioned a little bit, but I just want to hear more about that. Why you made that decision to do that?
Honestly, it was a foolish move, and like I said, it's changed. I was scared to change, be looked at different. And it's like, that was like my way of living. I'm not gonna say I have a good support, but I only have my mother. Like I said, my father died. So that was my way of getting money, knowing that it wasn't the right way, but just having it, doing it myself. I could kind of say I had the thrill out of it, knowing that it was bad and I should have stopped, but people make mistakes in life, and now I'm dealing with it. Wasted all the rest of my 20s in jail, and it's hurting people I love. So honestly, like, I can't even sit here and make up or tell you a story, because I'd be like basically lying.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was my fault. It was a foolish move, and I should have been changed my ways with the opportunities I've been at. But like I said, I'm dealing with it now.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. Yes, we do sometimes hear a lot of excuses for reasons So, have you ever worked? Have you ever had a job?
I mean, when I was younger, when I was like 15, 16, I had summer jobs. My mom made me get summer jobs, but instead of that, no.
But so you know what that's like, going to work in the morning, and you've done it in the past. You're not that old, so.
Yeah. I do, honestly.
And you're prepared to go back to that kind of a lifestyle, working, making money.
Yes, I had a job in here, but like I said, the incident with sorry that I'm bringing it back to that, but with the altercation I had, I think it was in like November or October, one of them. Because I had 2 fighting tickets, and I'm just gonna tell the truth, I'm not gonna hide it, but I had a general job, and before that, I like my last bit. I'm not gonna bring it all the way back, but I worked for about 3 years. I worked 2.5 years. Out of that, basically 3 years I did. I worked laundry for 2.5, so I know how it feels to have a job. So
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's no different, right? You get up in the morning, you get yourself prepared, you go there, you do the best you can at work, and then you come home and you get ready for the next day. And it's not fast money like what you were doing before.
Yes.
You understand? But that's how we live in society, and how you can live and not be incarcerated. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
You're clearly an intelligent person. You're able to have a conversation, articulate this. There's no reason why you can't hold on a job. You've done it in the past while you're incarcerated, and summer jobs when you're younger. So, can you talk about the Good Intentions program? What did you learn from that?
Just mistakes. Like, I seen a video with a female, and she's from New Haven, I guess. She's doing 40-something years right now, and I think she's still doing it. And it's basically like the same thing I said with change. Like, she was messing with a guy, and long story short, it dragged her to doing 40 years because she didn't want to look out for her and her daughter, instead of looking out, trying to be a protector for a boy that did not care about her. And that's what I'm going through now in life, with people that who swear that they was with me, and like. And now I risked all my life, not risked all my life, but I could have risked my life, worse things could have happened, I could have had worse charges, could have been in jail for the rest of my life. So me learning from that, it's just like, just taking all like, all the good things that I have to do versus the bad things, it's just like, I gotta just deal with it. The whole thing was just me dealing with just society and just doing what I gotta do as a man. No matter what hardship come towards you, that I gotta just deal, no matter what. I gotta deal. And for me to become or want to not see this no more, I gotta do what I gotta do,
Yes.
Because I could have been on the other side of this camera. I could have been doing something y'all doing right now, But I chose to live the wrong way, and that's what I really learned. Just not living the same path that I did, and trying to find newer things. And that was one of the things too. That's why I say change in my letter I wrote for y'all. That's what I learned was change. And taking full responsibility for the actions you do. And when you start doing that, you start realizing the stuff that you was doing bad wasn't worth it,
Yeah.
So,
and you're still very young. You're still very young, Mr. Nealy. So there's plenty of time and opportunity for you to get this corrected. But that's up to you. That's up to you. So you're going to have to make those changes that you're talking about, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, like you said. But that's all up to you. And you talked about you could be doing this job. You certainly could. There's no reason why you can't do anything you want to do. So that's completely up to you. You have plenty of time left. We often see people that are much older than you, where it's more difficult. But you have your age on your side, okay? So because you're very young. So we talked about the disciplinary reports a little bit. So that hurts you in a couple of different ways. So we want to see people take programs. When you get disciplinary reports, like you said, if you had a job, they take it away. You can't get programs. And then for us, it looks like a pattern of the same behavior while you're outside and inside. So it's all bad, disciplinary reports. You've had a couple, you've had some, and then you've had more now since you had your interview. We don't need to get into all of the disciplinary reports. There was one here where you hit someone with a crutch. You had a fight since then and some other stuff. But just in general, what's going on with these disciplinary reports? I know you're young and it's not easy. I get it, but you're gonna have to find a way. You're gonna have to find a way to. You're talking to talk. You gotta find a way to walk now. You know what I mean?
Yes. I told the captain that was over there because they checked the camera. Not saying I did not fight, because obviously I did fight. And that part about the crutches, yes, the crutches was used, but I got into a fight with another inmate, and he used the crutches, and I've been told them to fix that, but I guess they didn't. But long story short, with that one, I'm not gonna sit here and lie about that one. When the dude who I fought, last time being incarcerated, I had a girlfriend. I don't go out with her no more. I was with her for 5 years, and she got shot 4 times. So I let the anger take over me, and that was the dude who shot her. It's like the anger took over me. Basically, I'm not gonna sit here and go around it. The anger got over me. It got the best of me, and I reacted over something that was old, and that messed up the chances of me getting parole. And now I gotta deal with that.
Yeah. So there is
the second one.
Go ahead.
Then the second one. I'm sorry. The second
Okay,
one
go ahead.
was a foolish fight over chess. I guess the dude didn't want me sitting at the table where they were playing chess at. He started talking bull crap, and long story short, it ended from bad words. He punched me, and I reacted to that, and that was my second fight.
Yeah.
So it was over chess. It was foolish.
Yeah. So there are tools that you can learn in the anger management class that you might be able to use to help you when those situations start happening before it turns physical, that you could remove yourself or do something to de-escalate that.
Yes.
So I would encourage you, when you talk to your counselor, to tell them, explain to them, that what you told us about your anger. You've had different things happen in your life that caused that. And the anger management class, we've heard other people say that they've learned tools that they can use to de-escalate some of these situations that might be beneficial for you. Because it's, they're going to be looking at you for a DOC, halfway house, you have a parole hearing, there's all these things that are going to be happening, and you're creating, with these tickets, you're creating roadblocks, for programming. Yeah. So for training, you could be, there are people that get training while they're incarcerated that they could use on the outside, all kinds of things that you could be doing that are positive and you're putting up these roadblocks yourself. You're doing it by getting into these disciplinary reports. So you really
Yes.
gotta find a way, somehow, some way. You know what I mean? Like you said, man up and just and not get these disciplinary reports anymore.
Yes.
Let's see what else I got here for you. You've had trouble with probation and parole in the past. You were on special parole. We talked about that when this happened. But why is this time going to be different? You mentioned some of it. Your thinking is different now, right?
Just doing what I gotta do and would not leave no problems. I mean, going to work. I mean, with my problems, I came in a couple times, or I don't know which one they talking about. I guess they talking about the one that I just had when I was just home. I came in probably like 2 times, like probably like I think 30 minutes to 20 minutes after my curfew. But this time is gonna be better just because I'm removing myself from the stuff I was doing, removing myself from the people that I was hanging around, you know. Getting the job, that's one of the biggest things. I didn't have no job. So me getting the job this time, that would be all my focus, you know. I wouldn't have no excuse to be like, oh, I was late. This would be a good reason, or say if I missed 5 minutes, 10 minutes late is because of the job.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
that's one of my biggest things, is just removing myself from the circle I was around and
Yeah.
worry about my family, worry about myself, and just get a job and just move on from this, you know, and just leave this in the past.
Yes. Well, that's the right attitude to have. You did talk about work earlier. So my last piece of advice before I hand over the questioning to my colleagues is that you talked about opening a business in landscaping. And
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. It's a good long-term goal. It's going to take a little bit of work to get to that.
Yes.
You should plan for something when you get out that you can do immediately, which
Yes.
maybe working in landscaping for someone else to learn the business and then
Yes.
opening your own, you know what I mean? So just take steps like
Yes.
taking on something like a business right away is a lot. So
Yeah, it is.
you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir. I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues to see if they have any questions. Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Vazquez. So, Mr. Nealy, I would just piggyback too off what you said, and I really did like the idea about you employing formerly incarcerated individuals too, so that you can help, what's that?
Yes.
One week one kind of thing, and I like that. So,
Yes.
Ms. Chan-
Yeah. Mr. Nealy,
Yes.
I'm just going to point out what I've been listening to you so that you can understand what you need to do going forward. Your
Okay.
very first statement said you want to show your family,
Yes.
that parole board, that you can be the man you're supposed to be
Yes.
if you're given the opportunity. So I'm going to go through some things that, you screwed up, and then you can see where. So you also said you made a promise to your mom, which you broke last time,
Yes.
right? And that affected you, so you continued to be angry because you didn't keep that promise.
Yes.
You also said during the parole interview, you began your journey of selling drugs when you were age 13.
Yes.
You lost your father and your brother.
Yes.
Got even more angry.
Yes.
Then you dated that young lady for 5 years, and you said she got shot 4 times.
Yes.
Became angry.
Yes.
So it's obvious, and you pointed out that you have some impulsive behavior, which anger management truly help you,
Yes.
and basically would help you to figure out how you can respond in a more positive way to all the things that make you angry.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I like the idea when you talked about what it was that you wanted to do. You said you would first like to get a job working at maybe Target,
Yes.
and that your long-term goal was opening your own landscaping business
Yes.
and then hire people like yourself.
Yes.
You're 24 and you have very, very good thoughts in your head. You just need to know how to execute them in a positive way.
Yes.
I think you have 3 gun charges? That is not good. So you know what's going on in society today. Every day you hear about what the guns are doing, not just people but children.
Yes,
So I think you have the ability, Mr. Nealy, to change your life around.
I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not ready to support that today because I do think anger management would be a great benefit to you
Or-
before you go out.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so that's where I'm gonna end. I want to wish you the best of luck. You can do better.
yes,
Make sure you don't get any more DRs so that you can get that anger management done.
yes. Thank you.
And you'll see the difference that it makes in your life.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck. I don't care.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. So, Mr. Nealy, give us a few minutes to talk about your case, okay?
Okay.
What you will hear us discussing is that we can either grant your discretionary parole today, we can deny your discretionary parole today and have you finish out the remainder of this sentence, which I show expires on January 27th, 2027. Or
Yes.
we could have you finish out that special parole that expires on in April. So we have a few things to discuss. So you'll hear a bunch of dates, but ultimately our decision will be given to you our official decision. We'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Vazquez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Nealy is now 24 years old, I think, here, and he's got a lengthy criminal record of charges. He was on special parole at the time of this latest offense, which is still
Probation.
in probation. And it's still running. The special parole is still running now.
Mhm.
So he has expressed his wanting to change and understanding the mistakes he's made in the past. And I was impressed with that, considering his age, and that he really understands, according to what he's saying, what he's done wrong and how he wants to change. However, he has accumulated these, it looks like 9 at this point, disciplinary reports during this incarceration. 2 of them since the last parole hearing leading up to this, when he knew he was going to have a parole hearing. So he admittedly has had a problem controlling his anger at times and communicating effectively, where he doesn't have to resort to these kind of situations where it ends up in a disciplinary report. So I do hear him wanting to change and do the right thing. And but for today, he hasn't reached an adequate level of offender change based on all those things I said, and his poor institutional adjustment, and the fact that this was committed while he was on special parole. So for me today, it's a denial.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vazquez. Ms. Chance?
I do agree with what my colleague said. I'm not going to repeat what I said before. I really think he needs to do some more programming.
Okay.
But I do agree with the poor institutional and on special parole
And on probation.
and on probation.
And so again, we have the authority here to have Mr. Nealy return to us at a later date for a rehear. We have the ability to max him on his special parole and have him complete the remainder of the sentence out in the community, or we can EOS him and have him start his new parole. So which one is it?
You know, I would need to have some time between his last ticket and when he comes back. And, you know, I do believe he needs anger management and the other positive programs that he can get. And he does have a lot of time left here. So I'm open to, you know, having him come back and giving him a little bit of motivation to stay out of trouble while in the facility so he can get the programs, but he's going to need time because of these tickets. He's not going to get programming right now. So it would have to be a while from now, maybe a year from now, you know.
Those are my thoughts. So I would let him come back here
Yeah.
Okay.
and ask him to do the anger management and perhaps the voices.
And I would not rehear Mr. Nealy. He sounds very good here today. Sounds like he really does want to change, and he is very young mind. He's, 24 years old. So the impulsivity is absolutely there. He's very insightful. However, just the continued behaviors are very, very concerning to me. And while I understand why you would, the rehear would give him incentive to return, and do better. I'm just not sure that another panel will give him.
Yeah, they may not. This is not a guarantee that even if he does all this,
So they can,
he may not be granted parole. I mean, it's but like you said, I do hear some he's saying some positive things in his voice, and he wants to do better. He's very young, and I would hope that maybe a rehear could motivate him
Okay.
to at least stay out of trouble for the next year at
Yeah.
the very least.
Yeah. Okay. So the poor institutional adjustment, I think is fine. And the lack of program participation, I think would be another. You want additional programs and
Yes.
inadequate evidence of offender change, because the special parole and the probation is not going to change from now in a year. So it's
Okay.
going to be the same thing.
So we're just gonna go with the three.
Poor institutional adjustment programs and inadequate evidence.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even say
I
inadequate.
wouldn't put inadequate evidence. I would just do inadequate program and poor institution.
Okay, all right. So with regard to Taquan Nealy, 433-487, I move that his discretionary parole be denied today based on his poor institutional adjustment, the 9 disciplinary infractions that he's received its incarceration, and the lack of program participation. We think that you need to do some follow-up programs to address some of your criminogenic needs. I further move that he be referred in January of 2026, at which time he should have completed any positive programs that he can get into and also remain disciplinary infraction free. One of the programs that we are recommending is the anger management. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Nealy, we're going to give you another opportunity at parole, okay?
All right.
Please try to do better, all right? Just for
All
all
right.
the reasons that you said, all those things that you want to achieve, you got to do better.
Cannot have any more DRs. That's
All
it.
right.
You have to be done with that.
All right.
Thank you. Good luck, sir.
All right.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Mr. Nealy.
Thank you.
You can bring in Mr. Vazquez. We can hear him now. I just have to get the interpreters.
Okay.
Vazquez.
I mean, it's up to you. That, I mean, we could finish the other two.
Do you want to? Okay, never mind. Change your plans. I apologize. We'll do Mr. Vazquez last. So if you want to have Mr. Thomas come in.
Okay, we're gonna take you back.
Thank you.
So you can have a seat. You're welcome. Thomas, come on in.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, have a seat. We're going to get started in just a moment, okay?
Okay.
Morning, my name is Parole Officer Wegersman. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025, and this is the hearing of Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record, certified they've reviewed all statutorily required documents and available current information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning. I'm Panel Member Berry.
Good morning, Joy Chance.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Sir,
Morning.
can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
John Thomas, 276-843.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for John Thomas, inmate number 276-843, serving a sentence of 3 years flat for 2 counts of larceny in the 2nd degree. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 18th, 2025. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed and shows that he has completed new thoughts and is participating in voices. Utilizing a statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the moderate range risk recidivism. Mr. Thomas, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you may begin.
Okay, I wrote something down. Is that all right?
It sure is. Thank you.
I'm a little nervous, so
Bear with me. The first thought that comes to my mind is that I hold myself accountable for my actions and I recognize what I have done wrong is wrong in so many ways. I understand through all this time sitting here that I've hurt so many people in my life, and through the losses, I've learned to take responsibility for my actions is necessary in the rebuilding process of the new me. I know that I am not a young man anymore, and I watched so much time slip away from bad decisions. And for the first time in a long time, I admitted my faults, acknowledging them, and recognizing that my bad decisions have hurt others all the way. I took a lot of time to reflect on what I have done and how it has affected others. My actions are stupid, to say the least. I know that at my age, I should not be doing stupid things. I regret taking something that didn't belong to me and hope that you can see that I'm truly putting the necessary work to change my thought habits and look to rebuilding to a better future for myself and my family. I apply myself to my programs and worked on my assignments here because I want to change and believe that I've accomplished it and know that I still need to do work on myself daily because it will be a process. Excuse me. I'm not afraid to move forward as a new me. Amelia Earhart said, the most difficult decisions are to act. The rest is merely tendency. Fears are paper tigers, and you can do anything you decide to do. You can act to change and control your life. And the procedure and the process is its own rewards. With that being said, I take more time in my decision-making process. I take each morning in my daily prayer to ask for help and being better than the day before. And if the day starts in the wrong way, I try to reset it, start over. I slow down my thought process and put trust in my fears of doing better and being successful as such, so I can be real and continue to put in the work for the reward. Things will not be perfect all the time. I understand that completely. I feel that I've grown so much through all of this, and I hope you can see that too. I am thankful for the opportunity of being heard today and grateful. I am truly remorseful for my actions and hope that you can see that. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas, for that statement. I see that you're emotional. This is a big deal. It looks like you really have taken some time to process some of the things that you've done and how short you've fallen into being the person that you aspire to be. So I appreciate the remorse and the accountability. What's going to happen here today is we're each going to take an opportunity to ask you some questions, and when we're done, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. But first, it's just for the record, sir, you are currently serving some time for this sentence, and also special parole is still running?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's for possession of narcotics and criminal carrying a dangerous weapon? Is that right? What are the charges associated with the special parole?
Special parole was on burglary.
A burglary?
Yeah.
That's not all right. So say that. But that is still running and it expires on September 8th, 2026?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know that we, as a board, have the authority to have you serve the remainder of that special parole?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Ms. Chance?
So, Mr. Thomas,
Good morning.
your opening statement, and I'm looking at your history, and you are 51 years old, and as the chair said, you are on special parole.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, one of the things I don't take kindly to, because for me, when you are on special parole, you understand that if you violate parole, you come right back. But that's exactly what you did. And then looking at your prior community release history, and you've had 9 failures. You have indicated that the programs that you have taken, which is the New Thoughts and your currently Voices, taught you about looking at your decision-making skills. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so what I did was I looked at how the process goes and what the things I did wrong in the past. And I just jumped to a conclusion. Like the way that I had left the halfway house, that's why I violated the special parole. I was scared and I just jumped right into, like, when they told me to stay back from work that night, I said, I don't want to go back to jail under any circumstances. And I just grabbed my stuff and left. I didn't think about the consequences. I didn't think about the thoughts, the actions, and the reactions to what was going to happen to me. I just
But Mr. Thomas, I'd like to stop you there.
Okay.
Because you just said you did not want to go back to jail.
Right.
So you understood that if you walked out, that's exactly what would happen. So
Yep.
that's what you did.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't slow down to recognize the consequences, to realize that if I go back to, if I stay here, I'm going to go back to jail. So that fear took over me. So I ran. It's flight or go back to jail. So that's what I did. I ran because of the fear of going back. I didn't think about that maybe I wasn't even going to go back, or everything that was going to go. And that's what I found out later, that I wasn't going to go back, that they just wanted to talk to me. They were keeping me back to talk to me. So I jumped to a conclusion and left. And I shouldn't have. It was a stupid decision. And those are the things that where I've slowed down now and looked at it like, here, slow down your thought process. Look at everything that's going on. The thought, the action, and the reaction to it.
So the New Thoughts program,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me what skills that you think you learned there that's going to help you.
Well, the New Thoughts helps build with self-confidence, helps to change the way you think about things and look at the whole, like I was just saying, the whole options of doing things. Is this what you want to be? Is this what you want to do? These the consequences that you want to have in life? Do you want to stay home and be a father to your family? Do you want to help yourself and change? There's a lot of stuff that goes on, mostly building self-esteem. It helps you to build self-esteem also. There's a lot of things that I needed to work on and look at. And I asked to be a mentor to help in that class also. And I did also finish Voices too. I have that. I just might not have got to you guys yet, but the evaluation just went in.
So, why do you think you failed all those things? Because apart from the fact that you talk about you didn't have any self-confidence and self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
and you fear incarceration, but you got 9 failed community release. What else do you think caused you to keep going in and out and in and out?
I think addiction. I think that I really denied the help. I didn't want to accept that I had a problem.
How long do you think you've had an addiction to drugs and alcohol?
How long?
How long?
Oh, yeah, a long time. I mean, my whole adult life.
I've been in and out of programs a couple times, and I think I tried everything except for truly making the decision that I didn't want to use or drink no more. And at this point in my life, that's where I'm at, is that I have a 4-year-old daughter again. I started my life over 5 years ago, and I ended up screwing up and leaving that halfway house, So I don't have any desire, and I have a plan worked out now where I can use the resources with have a balance in my life, use my house, use my sister, my support network. I'm going to try to get a sponsor.
So here's what I'm going to say to you. If it's just occurring to you, or you're just admitting that you have an addiction, I didn't see you complete any addiction program. And yes, I understand it's a flat sentence, but
Yep.
you don't have now one success to demonstrate to me that you can go out and be successful. So,
Well, I actually, excuse me a minute, I did actually complete the halfway house, Bishop House, and Roger Sherman twice. I did complete. So I ask you to look at the things that I did do right also, and the growing process through this. I have grown
how
through
long
this.
ago was that?
I completed in 2019, right before all this stuff. I completed Roger Sherman to go out on my special parole.
So you absconded from special parole and you were returned in 2016. And then you had all these other charges, failure to appear, burglary, larceny. And then you went out in 2019, you were released on community release, but 3 months later you were discharged to special parole supervision. And then in 2020, you returned with charges. So that's the piece that you must have finished, but by October, you were charged again with interfering with officer and resisting, for which you received a conditional discharge. So, you continued because you were released to special parole in February of 2022, and then you absconded again 4 months later. And then you were returned in April of 2023, and then that same year you were charged with interfering and resisting. So it hasn't been a good run for you, Mr.
I tried the run. I tried the run.
More than once.
Yep.
So for me, you do have a flat sentence and special parole running. But I do think that you need to take a substance abuse program, and you need to really come up with a release plan to demonstrate that you really want to change and that you have a plan in place to help you make that change. You said a risky situation for you would be running into someone you used to get high to and you would just say hi and bye. But for me, that's not enough. You need to tell me that, I have a plan. This is where I'm going to go. I'm going to get a sponsor. I'm going to work on the 12 step, those kinds of things. And so it's a concern for me today, Mr. Thomas. And you have your sister as a support, and your girlfriend, I think she's the one that you have that young daughter with, because you have 3 adult children, I think ages 30, 24, and 20.
Yep.
Do you speak with them? Do you communicate with them?
No, I'm not in communication with them right now.
And why is that?
We haven't talked since I came back in.
Okay. So that should tell you that you really need to take the extra step, go the extra mile to really prepare yourself this time. Okay?
Yep, thank you.
So thank you for talking with me, Kara.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. Mr. Vazquez?
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I don't have any questions for Mr. Thomas either. I'm just looking at his history of in and out of the facility, and I'm trying to see how long was he out in the community before he actually started messing up. And
When?
from when he was released initially, it looks like he paroled.
2016 is where that special parole came from.
Right, from the burglary second, yeah.
Get extended.
Right, yep. And then he was released, just trying to see when he EOS'd off the first sentence. And then,
2019.
yeah, and then started, it's just, 2019. It's just,
I think with the new arrest, he's got 51 convictions.
right. So,
Yes.
well, it's more than that. Yes,
Those charges, there's more than one
Yeah.
conviction, but I mean, you.
Right. I added up 50. I didn't count the new ones, but
All right, give us a few minutes to talk about your case, Mr. Thomas. All right, what would you like, you can listen, please don't interrupt. Tell me what your thoughts are, Ms. Chance.
so my thoughts are, first I'm gonna say Mr. Thomas has an extensive history, and he has failed community releases. He has a drug problem, a history of alcohol and drugs. Today, I hear him talk about wanting to make changes in his life. And today, he knows when to ask for help. And I hear a small amount of growth there. He expressed remorse for his action. But for me, I think, and he's addressing his self-confidence and self-esteem. And he said he was in denial all those years. He's finally in denial of his addiction, but now he's admitting it. But for me, he hasn't done any program that would really make a dent in working on how he's going to stay sober when he goes back in the community. He does have addiction services on his OAP. I think he just needs to stay there and work on making addiction services program and coming up with a really good, robust relapse prevention plan that will help him to stay sober in the community. So having said all of that, I haven't denied for his criminal history and inadequate. I can't say that because he took two.
Well, you can, because he didn't take a tier program, and that's
a tier program,
fuels
so
his
I want
criminal.
to say inadequate institution of program participation.
Yeah, crime committed on special parole.
right.
And
That's right.
current offense occurs.
So we do have the authority to max him on a special parole, or we could release him at the end of this sentence with and have him serve the 2 months of special parole. My issue with Mr. Thomas is, so I'm in the RT screens now, and it looks like he was released onto parole in 2019. He was denied discretionary parole.
Right.
And he started the special parole in November of 2019. And by September of the next year, he had new charges. Then they re-released him again, and he was right back in 4 months. I mean,
Right, he returned I think in 2020, from special parole.
with new charges. And then he was re-released in February of 22 because he got the new charges.
Right,
And then he,
absconded.
yep. 4 months later, he had
Right.
signed it, and then he was right back.
April of the following year.
Yeah.
Picking up new charges.
I went through all of that with him just to tell it where I was with why I could not support. My personal feeling is that he should, finish his special parole. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. It's just, he has incentive now. It sounds like the girlfriend has really, and the new baby has really given him a new lease on life. What are your thoughts, Mr. Sazowskis?
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. I mean, he's had 9 opportunities in the past and has not taken advantage of any of those. He just keeps getting more and more opportunities and it's not working out. So I would encourage him. My advice to him would be to try to take these programs, keep staying positive and the things that he's saying he wants to do for his family. There are people that care about him on the outside, and he's got a couple more years that he could take these programs and continue to get his mind right. I would, if I was him, have a much stronger relapse prevention plan than what he's talking about, because this seems to be the basis of what everything that's going wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to really have some really good plan besides saying that I'm no longer going to use drugs or alcohol. That's not going to stop the urges and all of that. So,
Right.
but
So-
I am agreeing with
So you want to max him on his special parole, 9/8/26, or do you want to max him on the sentence within 7/12/26 and have the 2 months out in the community under supervision?
What's 2 months gonna do?
It'll be,
and he may get out if we left that 2 months. He may get, I don't know if DOC would give him another supervisor after all these absconding.
They won't. It's a matter of 2 months. So,
I would EOS him on this sentence and have the 2 months of special parole. I
you
mean,
mean EOS him for July
yes.
12th, 2026.
And we can set special pro conditions for those 2 months.
Yeah.
And then you want to put him out for the other one, which ends September 17, 26.
I have September 8th.
Yeah,
Is it
September.
Yeah, September 8th.
I have September 8th too.
Okay.
And so he should not have any alcohol. Who is Donovan Thomas to you, sir?
Who?
Donovan Thomas. Who is that?
That was the gentleman that I was with
I'm
for
sorry.
the, scrap metal.
Is he related to you? You have the same last name.
No, that's his first name. Thomas Donovan is his last name.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And then,
Yeah, he has a bunch of prior, Jesse and the 2 other victims, Troy Kafka, Wesley Henry, Timothy Foy, No People's Bank.
Those are all co-defendants.
I know. Those are all from their underlying charges.
Yeah, so
So,
I only have the co-defendant, Thomas Donovan.
yeah, no, but he's still serving that special parole for the underlying, so those other conditions have to apply too. So,
For the 2 months.
for the 2 months. Yeah. So with regard to John Thomas, 276-843, I move that discretionary parole be denied with no new hearing date. And he will EOS off this sentence, which we show an estimated release date of 7/12/2026. And the reasons for denial is criminal history, committed this offense while he was on special parole, and his inadequate program participation. I further move to re-release him at the end of this sentence, and he'll have 2 months, approximately 2 months of special parole that will still be running. And the following conditions will apply: no consumption of an alcoholic beverage, no contact with your co-defendants. These are for the underlying burglary second and for your current offense, Donovan Thomas. No Troy Kafka, that's your nephew, so that'll be without the parole officer's permission. Wesley Henry is also a co-defendant, and Timothy Foy. You'll stay away from the People's Bank on Hemingway Avenue in East Haven, and you will have no contact with your victims of the underlying initials are JH and MN. And I think that's it. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Thomas, this was a lot, sir. And we hear that you want to change, sir. You have to put your money where your mouth is and really, unfortunately, you've been given so many chances and you've squandered them. You have to prove yourself, sir. We want you to be successful, so we really do hope that you are. Good luck, sir.
I thank you for the opportunity of being heard. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
Inmate number 276.
Viramontes.
I didn't write.
For a month.
Mr. Viramontes?
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you. We're gonna get started in just a moment.
Okay.
Morning, my name is Parole Officer Wangerson. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025. And this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. Following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certify they've reviewed all statutorily required documents and available for information and preparation of this hearing.
Good morning. I'm panel member Barry.
Good morning, Joy Chance.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
Good morning.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Guadalupe Viramontes, 397923.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Guadalupe Viramontes, inmate number 397923. He's serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 4 years, followed by 5 years of probation for contempt of court, assault on public safety officer, violation of probation with an underlying conviction of strangulation in the second degree, and failure to appear first degree, along with an assault third and 2 counts of failure to register. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of June 4th, 2025. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan in place that has been reviewed and shows that he has completed the CLIC program, recovery coach, domestic violence, voices, embracing fatherhood, tier 4. He's currently participating in the Second Chance Pell Grant program. He's completed anger management, alternatives to violence, basic and advanced, along with people empower, and he's currently participating in People Empowering People. And he also reportedly began the vocational village building trades program. Utilizing the statewide collective offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the moderate range risk for recidivism. Also utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low to moderate range. Sir, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you can begin.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I want to start off by saying good morning to everybody at the parole board. I'd like to thank you for affording me your time so that I may respectfully ask for the opportunity to reintegrate back into society before the end of my sentence. I'd like to start off by taking full responsibility for my crimes and all the pain and suffering I have caused. If any of my victims are hearing me today, I want to sincerely apologize and say that I am filled with remorse for all the physical and emotional pain I have caused you and your loved ones. I am ashamed that I have committed these crimes and I regret it every day. Though it is in no way an excuse for my actions, my character was altered by substances I was abusing. Unfortunately, back then I was rarely, if ever, sober. All of my incarcerations have been the result of my abuse of both alcohol and cocaine. I appear before you today proud to say that as of next month, I will be sober for 2 years. I am at the same time ashamed to admit that out of the past 24 years, I have only been sober for 2. The desires are sometimes still there, but less and less often. So far, I'm winning that battle. I have plans that will allow me to continue me winning that battle in the world. During my incarceration, I have received 3 DRs. The first one was for being in possession of Pruno. The second and third arose from the same incident. I had strips of Sebastian in my property. When those were found, I was told to give a urine sample. I couldn't provide that specimen within the 3 hours they gave me, so I received a 3rd ticket. During the time I spent in segregation, as a result of the last 2 tickets, I started to analyze my life. I came to realize that other than giving life to my kids, who I love with every ounce of my body, I had not a single accomplishment I was proud of. On January 1st, 2023, I lost my fiance, the mother of my children. She lost control of her car while driving under the influence, hit a tree, and died. Her death hit me hard. The depression was the worst of my life. The time in segregation gave me the opportunity to deal with it. I have never cried so much as a result of her death and the way she died. I began to realize how our action affects so many others besides ourselves. And for the first time in my life, I came to grips with and dealt with my own emotional pain. Most importantly, I made a commitment to myself to become a better man. Shortly after leaving segregation, I was transferred to here Osborn Correctional Institute, and I began seeking for help. I started by attending school and eventually received my GED diploma. After I graduated, I was asked to become a tutor, clerk in the school. I have participated in the following programs: Tier 4, Anger Management, Voices, Embracing Fatherhood, Domestic Violence, CLIck, AVP Basic, AVP Advanced, Recovery Coach Academy, and I'm currently participating in People Empowering People, attending college, and the Building Trades vocational course. While I have found all of these programs to be very beneficial, the ones that had the greatest impact on me were Voices, Anger Management, Tier 4, and AVP. The Victim Offenders Institutional Correction Education Service, known as Voices, helped me understand and develop empathy for victims. I was able to put myself in the victim's shoes when talking about different crimes. I learned about all types of crimes and how victims are affected in so many ways. Anger management taught me skills on how to recognize when the feeling of anger is taking a hold. I learned that anger can get me in trouble and can have a negative outcome. I also learned that anger is an emotion that can be controlled using multiple tools. AVP, or the Alternative to Violence program, expanded on anger management. It gave me opportunity to practice the skills to stay calm and non-violent. I was recently asked to become a facilitator to help run the AVP workshops. Tier 4 is usually a 6-month program. My stay in Tier 4 was a 10-month stay. In Tier 4, I learned so much about recovery, from triggers to people and places that can have a negative impact on my recovery. While in Tier 4, I was given the opportunity to be part of leadership. As part of leadership, I was an elder with the responsibilities of being an active, positive role model, leading by example by taking on chores, following rules, holding myself and others fairly accountable when not following the rules and regulations of the Tier 4 program. Once again, I am truly remorseful and very ashamed for all of my bad actions and the awful negative impact I have had on so many lives. In closing, I want to ask for your help. If I EOS, I'll be dropped out somewhere with nothing. The parole system offers so much assistance and guidance that I can take advantage of to have a gradual and successful reintegration back into society. Please give me that help. I know your time is valuable, and I greatly appreciate these moments you have offered me. I expect you have your own questions to ask me that I will answer honestly to the best of my ability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Viramontes. That was a great statement. You covered a tremendous amount of ground. And you really have done a good job during this period of incarceration. You've taken so many positive programs, and it really sounds as if you were doing more than just warming the sea. It sounds as if you really did gain some good insight and some tools that you can really apply to life and, you know, when you are released out into the community. I didn't hear you talk very much, though, about your release plan.
My release plan, well, you know, sobriety is my number one on top of my list. And then, you know, look for a job. I never had an issue finding any jobs, but like I mentioned in the letter, you know, it'll be easier for me to look for a job and reintegrate back with you guys' help and guidance.
No, that was not a true statement, by the way. You will have help. They won't just drop you off at somewhere. You have 5 years of probation to follow your sentence, right?
Correct.
So you will have some help. Why you don't believe that probation can help you?
I believe they can, but before when I was Lionel S, I get dropped off in the shelter and I had to right away start programs and start looking for a job.
And have you been on probation before?
Yes.
Because they have the same programs that parole does. You do know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, they have the same, their intent. I mean, aside from parole having arresting power, probation can really help you navigate your life and your reentry back into the community. Because I say that because you really haven't done well on supervision previously. You realize that you've been given 3 opportunities and you failed all 3?
Yes.
Why? And I heard you talk about your inability to remain clean and sober out in the community. You said also when taking the Tier 4 program that you've been able to identify some of your triggers and some tools to take with you in recovery. Share with us what some of those triggers are. And okay, let me back up because we started off with your inability to remain clean and sober out in the community. You said it was how long were you able to stay clean?
For 2 years.
2 years.
For the present.
2 years. And what caused your relapse?
I believe places and people.
No, specifically, what caused your relapse? What made you pick? Was it complacency? Did you think that you had your addiction under wraps? So you decided that you could, maybe take a celebratory sip, or like what happened? Did something tragic happen to you to cause your relapse?
I wouldn't say something specific. I would just say accountability with the people I used to associate with in the environment I was living in.
So after you would throw away 2 years of clean time to fit in with friends?
No more.
But I'm saying that's what I'm asking you. So you feel like your friends are the ones that influenced you to pick up again?
Before, yes, they used to have a big influence.
Okay. And so tell me what your triggers are now so that you've taken the Tier 4 program.
What are my triggers?
Yeah.
Well, as incarcerated, I don't have any triggers. I try to maintain positive, the tools I've learned of communicating and which is music or working out.
Share with us what your drugs of choice are.
It used to be crystal meth. I've been sober from crystal meth for 12 years.
So when you were out in the community, what was your joy? What were you doing?
Alcohol.
So how do you stay away from alcohol? Because alcohol is everywhere.
Well, now, like I mentioned, I know that every time I pick up the results, I end up back in here, and I'm done with that life. I'm tired of living that lifestyle.
Congratulations on obtaining your GED.
Thank you.
That was a tremendous accomplishment, and I know that the test was difficult. How long were you in school?
For about a year. Oh, you mean it went out before in high school?
No. I'm talking about in the facility. You were in school for a year.
Yes.
And had you passed any tests prior to taking it this last time?
I had, it's because they're set up in different stages. It's not all at once. So I believe I didn't have to take or retake any. I just had to study and felt comfortable when I was going up to take the test.
Wow. And you just so if you put your mind to it, you really can achieve your goals, right? I mean, honestly, have you had any discussion about why you rely so heavily on substances? Like why you're using? What leads you to use? Why do you think you self-medicate with alcohol or crystal meth?
Well, me attending the regular meetings we used to attend at Tier 4, I was able to open up and found that when I was young, trauma stuff have gone through me, and I believe that was the main cause of it.
Okay. And so, do you intend to address some of those issues when you're released out into the? I mean, because the trauma doesn't change; it's the mindset, your mind frame. You have to figure out how to cope with that, with that trauma. But self-medicating, as you said, it leads you to commit some pretty serious crimes. I mean, you're in prison, you're in a holding cell, and you're acting a fool. I mean, why couldn't you contain yourself?
I don't have any correct words for that.
Wow. I mean, again, you have done well, but I mean, is this your longest period of incarceration?
Yes, it has.
Yeah. I mean, it looks as if they've given you opportunities before, but you just didn't take advantage of them. I mean, were you not serious about did you think you had everything all under control? I'm just trying to gauge where you were opposed to where you are today.
I don't believe I had the tools, or I wasn't attending them for myself. I just, when I was attending these programs, I felt like they were just mandatory, and I wasn't picking it up for personal growth.
I understand that. So can I just tell you what information I have here? Because it looks as if you're granted discretionary parole, sir, your sentence is an 85%. Are you aware of that? So
Yes.
6 months from now, you'll be released, but then you'll only have, your sentence ends in October. So it'll just be 4 months on discretionary parole before you start probation. So, I mean, we're talking about 4 months here. And have they talked to you yet about a halfway house in the facility?
I was told to reapply 6 months prior to my EOS.
Okay. All right. So that'll be in a couple months. I mean, there's no doubt that you really have worked on yourself. Just with your history, it's so concerning. It's so violent. I mean, strangulation, that's a serious offense. Have did you have to complete domestic violence when you were out in the community before?
I don't remember taking domestic violence.
Any anger management, any other programs?
The main program that I remember I had to attend was AA, which was Renaissance.
That's not really, okay. The specific programs to address your criminogenic needs, because you have this sex assault in your history as well, where did you have to take the sex offender program?
Yes, I completed it in Brooklyn CI, and when I was released, I used to attend it as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand why nothing changed, and I guess you did say it, and I just was doing it because I had to. This time I did it because I needed to do it, and that does show some change, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because you're only doing yourself a disservice, Mr. Viramontes, because honestly, you see those prisons are filled with people, right? We don't need your business. However, when you make poor choices and you try to, come up against the people that are just trying to do their jobs, these police officers and these court, officials, it makes no sense to me. Do you think you're going to win when these? I don't know. I don't know. It's just a lot to overlook. But nonetheless, you've done well. I don't want to diminish any of the things that you've done. You put forth your best effort. I don't like the disciplinary infractions, but you really have tried to change your life. And so I commend you for that. Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I heard you talk about problem sexual behavior treatment in a facility, right? But did you take it out in the community? Did you complete the entire program out in the community, or were you rearrested before it?
I was rearrested before.
Because I had a note that you did not complete that problem
Correct.
sexual behavior treatment out in the community, so that might be something. Yeah. Okay. So, and then let me just talk to you about this. You were supposed to register on the sex offender registry, and so that's one of the violations here. How long does that last for? Do you know if you still have to register?
I received a notice that I was done within 10 years.
Okay. So that's over now.
Correct.
One less obstacle for you to violate, maybe, when you get out, thing you have to do. And like my colleague said, we're talking about 4 months. So it's our job to decide if you're suitable for that 4-month period from June to October to be in a halfway house, essentially, and to try to like a transition into probation, So my colleague also talked about this incident at the courthouse, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit more. Do you remember what was going on in your mind at that time when you decided to take a swing at somebody in the court? I mean, while you already have all these charges,
I had a mental breakdown. If you can see through my history, I've been multiple times in the courthouse. I've never reacted like that. I had a newborn. I'm not justifying anything, but my newborn at the moment was 3 months, and I had a mental breakdown. I don't really recall.
Is there anything that you've learned in any of the, you've taken a lot of programs. I mean, thinking about the things that you learned in the programs and applying them to what happened in some of those instances. I mean, is there things you could have done differently with the tools that you have now?
Oh, yes, of course. I could have spoken to anybody, or I could have speak how I was feeling.
Yeah, I mean, we often hear people say that, in the past they were afraid to reach out for help, and they take programs and they realize that people want to help,
There is people, if you ask for it, or if I look for it, there is help out there.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about, because alcohol and drugs did play a role in a lot of what's going on here. So more about what your plan is when you get out, your relapse prevention plan. I see you're involved in CCAR. Can you talk about, have you looked, thought about what's going to happen when you get out? Are you going to stay involved in CCAR, AA? What is your plan?
That was my main goal for getting the certification for the Recovery Coach Academy, because I noticed that if I do volunteer, if I stay surrounded with that environment, it's the best way for me to go and, have a sponsor and work the steps. It's almost easier instead of putting myself in the wrong path and I believe that under the influence, I was really blindsided. I couldn't reach out, or I just felt like nobody understood me at that point in time. But now having those tools that I do have, I know if I talk to somebody, there is help out there.
Okay. And so I want to know how serious you are about CCAR. Like, have you looked at where CCAR is physically located at to where you want to go in a halfway house?
Yes, I believe I spoke to Melissa, and she's in Hartford. I do have her business card.
Okay, and that's where you want to go, to a halfway house?
I would want, yes, I believe it's 2 places we could apply, and I applied for Hartford or New Haven.
Okay, and so you have the business card, and you spoke to the woman from CCAR that's in Hartford, and your plan is to volunteer there.
Yes.
And while you're in the halfway house, and to surround yourself with that environment, immerse yourself with that.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have aspirations in the future to explore that as an employment opportunity for yourself later?
Yes.
Do you think you can do that? You can be a recovery coach or help other people that have gone through what you've gone through?
I believe me being an addict, I believe yes, because I could relate to these gentlemen or human beings, and I know what it is to wake up shaking and needing that drink or whatever the case might be. I believe I could relate, and I believe I do have a high capacity of speaking to people.
I heard your apologies and your remorse in your opening statement. I appreciate you saying those things, and I hope that people, like you mentioned, that were victims of your crimes, heard it also. You know. Yeah, I think that's all I have today, sir. I'm gonna pass it on to my colleague to see if she has any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vazquez. Ms. Chance?
I'm just gonna go back and ask you another question. You took the Tier 4 program, and my colleague had asked you what skills you learned, but more importantly, what are your triggers and urges? I don't remember you saying what they were. And I would like to know what made you want to take up a drink.
Cravings. I just crave for it, and you know, I mentioned it when I was interviewed by the parole officer. You know, when I was young, I was sexually assaulted by a family member of mine.
So what are you saying?
So I believe I wasn't able to. I've never mentioned this to anybody, but now I'm aware that probably is because of that I wasn't able to speak about it or ask for help about it, and I was ashamed about it or embarrassed about it. And I believe that's how I would try to medicate myself. But now that have more tools under my belt, I'm able to speak about it.
So if you are going along and you're going by a liquor store and you get this urge or this craving, what would you do?
Well, before I even get there, I would want to talk to my parole officer, because I know there's I'm not sure what's the name of it, but it's a blocker for alcohol.
Vivitrol.
Yeah.
Correct. So yes, I've looked into that. I would want to speak to my parole officer or probation officer to get onto that.
So what you just mentioned about what happened to you, and you self-medicate whenever you think of it. So that would mean that you would want to go and address that problem.
Correct.
Because, you know, even if you do CCAR and become a coach and, you know, have a sponsor, there's an underlying problem that you have not actually addressed. And that sounds to me like that's your major trigger. I don't know what else could be your trigger, because I read that you said that, you know, you would go to work and drink. So what happened at work that made you want to drink at work?
There's no right or good excuse for it.
So I know there's no excuse, but helping to identify the reasons why you do it will help you to stay sober.
How can I stay sober?
It will help you to stay sober if you know why you drink.
Correct.
So, you didn't mention anything about how you're gonna maintain your sobriety when you go in the community. Apart from, you know, being a CCAR coach, but I would think that you want to address your problems before you can go and help someone else.
Correct. Well, what, you know, having a C card, what I would want to do is surround myself with that environment and, you know, with the environment that was in here with people taking their sobriety serious, you could link up or work the steps.
Okay. Okay, well, you know, you took several positive programs, and I hope it'll make a change for you. You know, your last DRs was 1.5 years ago, and since then, you have taken quite a few programs, so there is change. Here.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. Give us a few minutes to talk about your case, Mr. Viramontes, and we will give you our official decision, okay? You can sit there and listen, just don't interrupt, okay?
Thank you.
So what's concerning to me about this case is, or Mr. Viramontes, is his history. He has a history of violence. And while I can appreciate all of the positive programs that he's completed, and he really does sound as if he desires to change. I'm based on his history, I'm just not sure that he can really follow through. But I do understand his saying, well, you know, before I did this stuff because I had to. I did this time because I needed to for myself. So he has not received any disciplinary infractions in over 1.5 years, it looks like. And he's taken all the appropriate programs. And I guess now it's time to put up or shut up. So while I reluctantly want to deny, it's not a reluctance to deny, but I based on his history, I would love to say he needs to finish the sentence, but based on his program participation and his, he got his GED now, and he has so many other tools that he can utilize, and hopefully he'll make better decisions going forward. I would support his discretionary parole. Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I understand as we look at his record, you know, it's very concerning, right? Mm-hmm. He's not done well in the past, but like you said, over the last 1.5 years, he's done a lot here. He's went on his way to get his GED and attended several programs, and has a plan to stay sober when he gets out. Specifically understands specifically where to go, has the phone number, and knows what he has a plan on what he's going to do. So we're talking about 4 months. Did not complete the sexual behavior treatment that he was supposed to complete, and there's a note in here about that. Mm-hmm. That he, you know, I think it would be beneficial for him during that 4 months that we could have him take care of that also.
Yeah, but he's not going to have enough time to do all that. Especially, I mean, it's
probation.
So
you can continue with
probation.
Yeah, he could.
He'll start it, and he has 5 years. So
I do feel like there'd be some benefit for him to be on parole during those 4 months. So I agree with you that I would support that.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Chance?
So I could go along with that. My minor concern that I had was he did all those programs, and I don't know, it sounded to me like he wants to be very dependent on that recovery coach.
I think he's saying that being in that environment, being around other people who.
I understand that, but you also have to have your own plan,
right,
on what you're going to do there.
Right.
Because his focus was on he can help other people. But you need to set goals for yourself first, which is what I explained to him, because you can get caught up in there
Yeah,
and forget about yourself.
right.
And when I asked about his treasure for drinking, it went back to what happened then. So I really think he needs to address that. So I would add mental health eval, because to me, if we're going to release him, I would like him to do that and have that addressed while he's doing all
Yeah,
that.
there's so many conditions for him
Yes.
for 4 months, but
Right.
it is what it is.
Right.
I have no alcohol, problem, sexual behavior treatment, mental health, halfway house, domestic violence, no victims, and I'm not sure if that's the victim that is no longer here.
And
And
that died.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the same person.
Yeah, we'll
it
still
is,
put it,
so.
we'll put it the same, that's the strangulation second, that's a serious offense.
Mhm.
He asked for, I said halfway house, so is there
Yes.
anything else?
No, those are the ones that I have.
There's no way.
And hopefully it rolls into probation, that they will take, move these things forward, hopefully.
Yeah.
If probation doesn't like any of it, they will ask for a case review.
Okay, so with regard to Guadalupe Viramontes 397923, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after his earliest eligibility date. We have June 4th of 2025, to which the standard parole conditions will apply, and as well as the following conditions: no consumption of an alcoholic beverage, problem sexual behavior treatment in the community, domestic violence treatment in the community, no contact with the victim. It's our understanding that she's deceased, but her initials are MP. You'll be released to a halfway house and participate in mental health evaluation and receive treatment as deemed necessary. Did I say everything?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Viramontes, we granted your discretionary parole. You receive all of this in writing. Listen, 4 months, you're not going to have enough time to do everything that we're asking you to do, but it's not for us, it's for you. So I would suggest that you advocate for yourself and let whoever your parole will do a report for the probation officer. But if you think that you need something more than the things that we're asking of you to do, then I suggest again that you need to be said, ask for the help, Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
This concludes Viramontes and the number 3979.
Vazquez, come on in.
Right, good morning. I am gonna swear in our interpreter. We have interpreter Liza Rivera present. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you faithfully discharge according to law your duties as an interpreter to the best of your abilities, so help you God upon penalty of perjury? I do. Thank you. All right, good morning. My name is Parole Officer Wangerton. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. Following board members are present this morning. By stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm Member Berry.
Good morning to a chance.
Good morning, Robert Vazquez.
Sir, can you please state your name and IMEI number for the record?
Buenos días, soy la oficial de libertad condicional Wengersman. Hoy es viernes 10 de enero del 2025 y esta es una audiencia de la Junta de Indultos y Libertad Condicional de Connecticut. Los siguientes miembros de la Junta están presentes esta mañana y al decir sus nombres en el registro certifican haber revisado todos los documentos legalmente requeridos e información pertinente disponible en preparación a esta audiencia. Señor, por favor, decir su nombre y número de confinado para el registro.
Lionel Vazquez, 439-704.
Lionel Vazquez, 439-704.
Thank you. Serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 6 years, followed by 5 years of probation for evading responsibility. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 6, 2025. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan in place for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows that he has not completed any programs or participated in any as to date. Utilizing a statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the low range risk for recidivism. At this time, Mr. Vazquez, is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe rights in parole, and you may begin.
Esta audiencia se está llevando a cabo en consideración a la aplicación de libertad condicional de Lionel Vazquez, número 439-704. Él está sirviendo una sentencia de 12 años, ejecución suspendida después de 6 años de prisión y 5 años de libertad provisional por evasión de responsabilidad. Hasta el día de hoy, los expedientes reflejan una fecha de elegibilidad para libertad condicional del 6 de marzo del 2025. No hay testimonio de víctima en este caso. Hay un plan de responsabilidad para el ofensor, el cual ha sido revisado y demuestra que el ofensor no ha completado o participado de ningún programa. Utilizando el sistema colaborativo estatal de evaluación de riesgos del ofensor, el puntaje general del ofensor en el SRT cae dentro del rango bajo de riesgo de reincidencia. Esta es su oportunidad para expresarle a la Junta por qué piensa se le debe conceder libertad condicional. Puede comenzar.
Why do you think you deserve parole, sir?
Porque usted piensa merece libertad condicional, señor.
No entiendo, perdón. No entiendo la palabra.
Este es un momento para expresarle a la Junta por qué piensa se le debe conceder libertad condicional.
Vaya, a ver si me dan una oportunidad.
To see if I get an opportunity.
Okay, so Mr. Vazquez, we have questions for you, sir.
Mr. Vazquez, tenemos preguntas para usted.
Mr. Vazquez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, sir.
Buenos días, señor.
Can you tell us what happened on the day of the accident?
¿Nos podría decir qué sucedió el día del accidente?
Pues yo me dirigía para mi casa y de momento alguien me dio, yo me paré y cuando miro para el lado no veo a nadie y esperé como 50 minutos, no había nadie y me fui para mi casa.
I was driving home. Someone hit me. I stopped for about 50 minutes. I didn't see anybody. So I drove home.
I'm sorry, Ms. Rivera, for how many minutes?
50.
50.
50.
Okay. Thank you.
You told the police that you had been drinking before the accident. How much did you drink?
Usted le mencionó a la policía que usted estaba tomando antes del accidente, ¿cuánto usted bebió o tomó?
Como 4 o 5 cervezas, pero eso fue por el día.
About 4 or 5 beers, but that was during the day.
Can you tell us how you feel like you've changed since you've been incarcerated?
¿Nos podría decir cómo usted piensa que ha cambiado desde que ha estado en prisión?
Bueno, pues yo me considero una persona tranquila. Yo nunca, esta es mi primera vez que he estado preso. Yo nunca he estado preso ni he tenido problemas con nadie.
I consider myself a quiet person. This is the first time that I been in prison, and I never had problems with anyone before.
Do you think you've changed since you've been incarcerated? Are you different now than you were when you started your prison sentence?
¿Usted piensa que usted ha cambiado, que usted es diferente ahora desde el momento en que entró a prisión?
Bueno, yo me considero que sí.
I consider that a yes.
How do you plan to stay sober when you're released from prison?
¿Cómo usted piensa mantenerse sobrio cuando salga de prisión?
Pues manteniéndome tranquilo, no yendo a fiestas, a lugares que yo iba, manteniéndome en mi casa, trabajando, así.
Quiet, not going to places that there are parties, not being involved with the same people.
Can you tell us where you plan to live and work when you're released from prison?
¿Nos podría decir dónde usted piensa trabajar y vivir cuando salga de prisión?
¿No?
¿Nos podría decir dónde usted piensa vivir y trabajar cuando salga de prisión?
Bueno, la dirección que yo tengo, la de mi madre.
The address that I have is my mother's.
Y trabajar, buscar trabajo, porque no yo estaba trabajando, ya no estoy trabajando, y estoy aquí metido.
And I will look for a job because I am not working anymore. I am here.
What kind of work do you want to do?
¿Qué clase de trabajo usted quiere hacer, piensa hacer?
Mantenimiento.
Maintenance.
Did you have a driver's license before the accident?
¿Usted tenía una licencia de conducir antes del accidente?
No.
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 Have you gone to any AA or NA meetings in the facility where you are?
¿Ha ido usted a algún tipo de programa de alcohólicos anónimos, narcóticos anónimos en la facilidad?
¿Perdón?
¿Ha ido usted a algún programa de alcohólicos anónimos o narcóticos anónimos en la facilidad?
¿En donde estoy ahora mismo?
Where? Here in the facility?
Yes. Has he done any programs to address his alcohol problem while he's in the facility? Anything?
Sí, ¿ha hecho usted algún programa para atender su problema de abuso de sustancias de alcohol?
No.
No.
The problem I have, sir, is that your family describes you as an alcoholic, and so do the people that work at the package store, the liquor store. And this accident was the result of you drinking earlier in the day. And you haven't taken any programs to address that problem.
El problema que yo tengo, señor, es que su familia lo describe como un alcohólico y también las personas que trabajan en la tienda donde compraba el licor.
Ay, yo no
Esta es
sé.
la razón por la que, esta es la razón por la que sucedió este accidente, debido a que usted ingirió bebidas alcohólicas durante el día.
Pero si usted se gana la guagua, el accidente, la guagua lo que se hizo fue un guayazo con una persona. Me pregunto yo cómo se va a morir cuando yo ni me golpeé. Y la persona se fue, le encontraron muerto supuestamente en otro lado.
If
Esa es mi pregunta.
if you check the car only had a scratch.
Sí, pero dijeron otra
Passed
cosa.
away, only a scratch.
Yeah, he definitely passed away. The person died from the accident.
La persona falleció debido al accidente.
Ajá, pero la persona falleció supuestamente, dijo la policía, me dijo a mí, 2 horas, la encontraron 2 horas en otro lado.
The police told me that supposedly he
no
was
fue donde
found
pasó.
hours later in a different place.
That he was what?
That he was found.
I know the story. I read through it. I understand what he's saying. I know the whole story. So, okay. We're not going to relitigate the case today. I was just hoping that you had done some alcohol treatment in the facility before you came to see us.
Nosotros no queremos seguir hablando del caso, ahora lo queremos ver es si usted ha hecho algún tipo de tratamiento en la facilidad antes de venir a vernos hoy.
No, porque no me han dado, o sea, me dijeron una vez uno, pero entonces yo pregunté que si era mandatorio y me dijeron que no. Pero no lo cogí, pues si tengo que hacerlo, lo hago. Y ahora mismo, mira, tengo que hacer un programa de hoy, y desde que yo llegué aquí, estoy escribiendo, recuerdo, me tienen en la lista y todavía es la hora que yo no he hecho eso. Porque ellos me tienen en espera y estoy trabajando, pues tengo también que hacer eso. Pues yo trabajo en la cocina ahora mismo.
No, they gave me a program when I first got here, but then I asked if
Y
it
yo
was
tengo la
mandatory.
copia y todo guardadas. Ok.
They said no, so I didn't take it. But if I need to take any program, I will do it. Just like Voices, I wrote and they said that I'm on a wait list and I've been waiting. All I'm doing right now is I'm just working.
Working in the kitchen.
Good.
Oh, excuse me, ¿puedo decir algo?
Excuse me, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sí.
Oh, mi pregunta es que, porque él dijo 12 años, si el papel mío dice que a mí me dieron 10 años, 6 años, que mi sentencia se acaba en marzo del 2028, pues yo tengo el papel guardado.
I just wanted to ask why you said that it was 12 years. So my paper says that I am supposed to do only 6 years and then I am done on March 2028.
Yeah, I can explain that.
Y a mí me dieron el 50%.
And I only have 50%.
Yeah, so your sentence is 12 years and the execution of the sentence is suspended after 6 years.
A usted le dieron 12 años y suspenden la sentencia luego de 6 años.
Ok. Bueno, pues yo le digo a papá, como dice el papá, pero no sé por qué tú me regalas que estoy preso, porque yo no sé mucho de esto.
I was just asking because that's what I heard, and this is the first time that I'm in prison and I don't understand much about this.
But he didn't listen.
Yeah.
He wasn't listening.
Okay, thank you for answering my question, sir. I'm going to see if my colleagues have questions for you.
Gracias por contestar mis preguntas, señor. Voy a ver si mis colegas tienen preguntas para usted.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Chance?
So, Mr. Vazquez, are you acknowledging that the truck you were driving hit the victim that resulted in his death? Yes or no?
Mr. Vazquez, ¿está usted aceptando que usted estaba conduciendo el vehículo donde ocurrió el accidente y la persona falleció, sí o no?
Sí. Como yo estaba guiando,
I was driving.
pero la persona no sé ni quién es, ni lo
Is
vi,
it a
ni nada.
yes or a no?
Bueno. Yes.
Okay. So, you asked friends to buy you some alcohol or beer at the liquor store. You drank it, sat for a while, got in your truck, not going too fast, and drove off, hit this person, You claim that you came out the truck, you stopped it, and did not see anyone.
For 50 minutes.
So you went home.
Señor Vázquez, usted le pidió a sus amigos que le compraran bebidas alcohólicas. Usted tomó esas bebidas alcohólicas, se montó en el carro, condució el vehículo y usted nos dice que usted sintió que le dio algo, pero que usted se detuvo,
Ajá.
no vio a nadie y entonces se fue.
A los 50 minutos me fui.
After 50 minutes, I left.
Y no veía a nadie.
Saying that your truck only had a scratch. What I read was the chrome on your truck was dented and it matched where that part of your vehicle hit the victim. And the police did extensive search and was able to use the victim's, his fluid to match against what was on the chrome piece of your truck. So no one made up anything. I just want to understand today that you're acknowledging that you caused the death of someone, the victim.
Usted mencionó que el vehículo solamente tenía un rayazo o un raspazo. Sin embargo, el vehículo tenía dobleces y el área concordaba, la área del vehículo que tenía daño concordaba con el área donde fue golpeada la víctima. La policía hizo una investigación extensa y una búsqueda y pudieron encontrar fluido de la víctima que concordaba con la parte del vehículo, de su vehículo.
Ahora yo no
Nadie está diciendo nada que no es, solamente queremos saber si usted puede aceptar que usted estaba guiando el vehículo que ocasionó esta muerte.
No, porque yo que hice una cosa, mi vehículo del otro lado estaba chocado, pero eso era viejo y ese lado no fue el cantazo, fue por el lado, el cantazo fue por el lado que yo estoy guiando, que es que yo digo que tiene el callazo, porque ahí fue el cantazo, no fue por el otro lado. Pues yo iba subiendo y la persona venía bajando.
The car was damaged on the driver's side, and the person that it was on the driver's side, but my car had damage on the other side.
So I'm reading the court document that the blunt trauma of the torso with fractures and visceral injuries and the manner of death was certified as accident, that Roman died as a result of his injuries sustained after being struck by the evading vehicle, which was identified as yours.
La corte mencionan fracturas en el torso de la víctima, causando la muerte, como resultado de las lesiones que recibieron al haber sido golpeado por el vehículo que usted estaba conduciendo.
So aside from that, Mr. Vazquez, you have not taken any programs to address your alcohol use. And I appreciate the fact that you're working in the kitchen. You have no plans for how you're going to stay sober when you go back in the community. And because this crime was so serious, I cannot support a discretionary parole for you today.
Aparte de esto, usted no ha tomado ningún tipo de programa que se enfoque en su uso de alcohol. Tomo en consideración que usted está trabajando en la cocina, pero tampoco veo un plan para usted mantenerse sobrio cuando salga a la comunidad. Y debido a que este crimen es muy serio, no apoyo en este momento la libertad condicional.
Perdón, ¿cómo es? No escuché.
I couldn't hear, I'm just gonna. Aparte de que usted no ha tomado ningún programa para poder atender el uso de alcohol, aprecio que usted ha trabajado en la cocina, pero tampoco veo que hay un plan para mantenerse sobrio cuando salga a la comunidad, debido a que este crimen fue muy serio. Yo no estoy a favor de la libertad condicional.
I'm all set, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm just going to move that Lionel Vazquez 439704 be denied discretionary parole. Based on his inadequate program participation and inadequate evidence of offender change. And now I think is there a second to the motion to deny?
Can we add? Okay.
Yes, go ahead. What do you want to add?
The nature and circumstances.
Nature and circumstances of the offense. Yep. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. So do we want Mr. Vazquez to be returned?
No.
I would like to see him do these programs. He does have some time left here. So,
I did have him coming back.
yeah, I mean, I think he would be beneficial to addiction services and voices that are on his OAP, you know? So I would do that. He's gonna need some time probably. And he has.
The stole is not mandatory, so he didn't do it.
Right.
But it'll be mandatory now. If he doesn't do it, he's not gonna, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I would do a year. And this case is really serious.
Yeah,
so.
that's fine with me. I'm
I'm not in favor, so.
Okay. All right. So, and we will rehear Mr. Vazquez in January of 2026.
with
With programs and a tier program voices and no disciplinary infractions. And then that's enough. You have to know on the record that Joy is.
yes,
Go ahead, Liza.
that's okay. I understand.
En el caso de Lionel Vazquez, número 439704, nos movemos a negar su salida a la libertad condicional en el día de hoy por las siguientes razones: inadecuada participación en programas institucionales, evidencia inadecuada de cambio en el ofensor y naturaleza y circunstancia de la ofensa actual, pero nos movemos a darle otra audiencia nuevamente en enero del 2026, donde se recomienda que tome los programas TIER, programa Voices y que no tenga infracciones de disciplina.
¿Cómo es que qué?
Stop moving your paper because you can hear her.
Pues necesita que repita todo nuevamente, Mr. Vazquez.
No entendí bien lo que dijo.
I didn't understand. I'm just gonna... En el caso de Lionel Vazquez, número 439704, hacemos una moción para negar su salida bajo libertad condicional en el día de hoy por las siguientes razones: evidencia inadecuada de cambio en el ofensor, inadecuada participación en programas institucionales, naturaleza y circunstancia de la ofensa actual. Sin embargo, nos movemos a darle otra audiencia en enero del 2026 por las siguientes recomendaciones: que tome programas TIER, programa Voices y que no tenga ningún reporte de disciplinas.
Bueno, hasta la fecha yo no tengo ninguno.
I don't have any disciplinary issues.
We know that. Don't get any more. Don't get any.
Lo sabemos. No tenga más ninguno. No tenga ninguno.
Okay.
We still have to say that.
Good luck.
Buena suerte.
Okay. Mira, para eso de los programas, ellos me avisan, o cómo le hago.
Are they gonna let me know about the programs? How does that work?
He has to find out.
So what will happen is we'll put this in writing, and it should move you up on the list to get into the tier program. So you should be able to participate fairly shortly.
Nosotros vamos a poner esto por escrito, lo que significa que probablemente va a hacer que usted se mueva en la lista y pueda participar de estos programas.
Por eso, pero tengo que seguir escrito Request by Voice o.
Do I have to keep writing?
No. No,
Y para los otros, ¿no?
How about the other one?
no.
¿Cuántos programas más tengo que
That's
hacer?
OAP. They are already on your OAP. You're on the waiting list for those programs already.
Usted ya está en la lista de espera para esos programas.
Por eso, ¿pero cuántos programas más tengo que hacer?
How many other programs do I have to do?
Sir, you'll receive this in writing. Your hearing is over.
Señor, usted va a recibir esto por escrito, su audiencia ya finalizó.
This concludes the hearing for Lionel Vazquez, inmate for 2970.
Concluye la audiencia de Lionel Vazquez, número 49704.
That's it.
You can go now.
Sería todo.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
It's hard.
Thank you.
Officer Williams.
Good.
All right, guys, really appreciate you guys tuning in to You Have a Collect Call From. There's another hearing going on right now, so I'm going to switch over to that one. I should have the stream running in the next few minutes, if you will. Anyhow, like I said around here, lights like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out, and with that, we are out. A rato.